It's really difficult to not become racist when people who have a certain skin color treat you in a certain way.
Yeah, I hate all Pakis.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Dopecast.
Hello.
With us today we have Kriya.
Hi.
Hello, Kriya.
Hello, Sir Anderson. Hello, Dope.
Or should we call you Sam? I don't know. Whenever we talk, I seem to use a different name, like each time.
Kriya is kind of fucking dead now, really, the amount of times I've changed names. So, I guess it's just Sam now.
Yeah, I suppose so. Just a heads up to everybody. As you can probably tell, I'm still quite sick, so my voice is going to be a bit iffy, and I might cough a few times, but I'll try to keep it down to a minimum.
So, Kriya, when you play video games with people, if you beat someone and
Do I cry?
sandy,
Do I cry?
and they get salty and they want a rematch, do they tell you to play it again, Sam?
They tell me to get good, scrub, and then they go, "What are you, a crier?"
Why don't you go cry about it?
I hate that. That is one of the main reasons I stopped using that name. It's just so fucking dumb.
What is the story behind that nickname anyway? Kriya, it's like...
It was, honestly, when I was playing World of Warcraft, and I just wanted a name for my new hunter, I just fucking literally smashed my keyboard, and then it came up with, like, Cryamace or something like that, and then I just shortened it to the 4 letters, because the other thing just isn't a thing. And then I later found out it's like a baby alpaca or something.
I honestly thought it was like Rumia's name. It was from some random weeb shit.
No.
It actually kind of does sound like that, doesn't it?
Kriya!
Every time I use it in, like, oh, don't get me into this, but chat rooms of a specific sort, people always just assume that I'm female with it.
Yeah, it's pretty feminine, I think.
I even tried, like, reversing it, so it becomes like Ek, and then they still think I'm female.
That just sounds Swedish.
Ek, potatis.
Yeah. You were called, actually, what were you called before, Kriya, when you first came to Dopelives?
When I first came,
Well,
it was a bit after.
yeah.
No, we'll not talk about that.
We'll not talk about that.
Skins, man.
Skins. Was that after the TV show?
No, it wasn't for like the 8 millionth time. I get asked that. I used to get asked every day, and like I've never even seen that program.
I know it wasn't, but I had to ask you anyway.
I've never seen that program. I just know it's a bunch of edgy fucking teens.
Yeah, I guess it's called skins because they're like multicultural or something. Like they
I
have
no
different skin
idea.
color. So why skins?
People were calling me like when I was working, like doing carpet fitting and whatnot. And
how does that name come about?
It's basically like when you're rolling fags, you have roll-ups, and then they're called skins, and like everyone always asked me for them, and I'd always have copious amounts.
Oh, I see.
It's basically that.
Fair enough.
It's a bit of a shit story, that, but hey.
I thought it was because you were a skinhead.
No, God no. They're the worst. They're like one of the 3 worst like groups of people in my area. They're terrible.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck off. I am a cunt, but not that kind of cunt.
So, how old is this cunt, and where is it from?
This cunt from the cunt was about 22. Since a couple of days ago.
About. I have a confession to make. I got my age wrong in the last podcast. I said I was 23, but I'm actually 24. I just realized sometime afterwards.
When it was my birthday the other day, like I was like, how old am I?
Yeah,
it's like 20, 21, 22. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Just do the arithmetic.
Yeah, I had to do that. I had to okay, so I'm born 1991. That is like fucking hell.
I get confused with those years. Like I think I'm born 94, and then I start counting upwards, and I think maybe the years go like 93, 92, 91, and then that's me getting older, but it's me getting younger.
Yeah.
I subtract the years from each other, and then I have to go like, but have I already had my birthday this year or not?
Yeah.
What year is it?
Man, it's difficult.
Right. It's irrelevant.
So where are you from?
I am from England, if you can't tell.
Yeah, we can probably tell that, but where more specifically?
A shithole called Stoke, which is close to Manchester.
Is that the same as Stoke-on-Trent?
It is Stoke-on-Trent.
Okay. Because
I guess I should have said that.
Tell me about Stoke.
Well, it was like its main claim to fame was like the pottery industry. Mm-hmm. Hence why the football team is called people call them the Potters and whatnot.
Oh, I thought it was from Harry Potter.
I fucking hate Harry Potter. Mate, I'm going to fucking Florida soon, and I've got to go see Harry Potter bullshit, and I fucking hate it.
Yo,
But
wait,
anyway.
wait. So it's a pottery town, and it's called Stoke. Does that name come from like stoking?
It probably
kiln
does,
or
doesn't
something?
it?
I guess so. Like the on Trent part is because it's on the River Trent, so it could be the stoking town on the River Trent.
Yeah,
But I'm not sure. I don't know.
probably is. Is it a big town?
It's average sized. It fits enough scumbags in it.
I don't know what an average sized England or Great Britain town actually is. Is it like 1 million people or 100,000 or what are we talking here?
Too many. I don't know. I don't know, mate. I really don't know. I guess it's not as big as Manchester.
So do you have your own hospital?
Yeah, we've got quite a few. I think we've got like 2
Okay.
or 3.
Okay, and university?
Oh yeah, plenty.
Okay, so it's a big town.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Have you lived there your whole life, or
Yes, unfortunately.
why do you stay?
Because it's scary, man, to move. I want to go to a different country, but like it's finding work there if you don't speak the language, or the initial step of having to find somewhere to live.
Yeah,
It's kind of impossible if you want to do it on your own straight away.
yeah, it's true. And then you don't know like where to turn if things go awry.
Yeah,
like
you're
you don't understand their social services and that kind of stuff.
Just go to Sweden, man. They'll bend over backwards for you.
I'm not.
No,
I don't have brown
he's,
skin.
He's white though, so unfortunately.
I'm cis and I'm white. I have no chance.
So you said you were going to Florida?
Yeah, that's gonna be good, man. But I'm going with 2 couples, so I'm fifth wheel.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Wait, so what is this Harry Potter thing you're going to? Is that like Disney World, but or
Yeah, it's in Disney World. They got 2 sections that I absolutely despise. That's Harry Potter and Minions. And my
Harry
friends
Potter?
are so.
But neither of those are Disney, are they? Are you talking about like Universal Studios?
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. We're going to both of them, so I don't even know what the fuck Harry Potter's owned by.
Fair enough.
But I hate them both, like so much.
Yeah, Minions is pretty terrible.
It's
Just
pure cancer.
from how oversaturated it is.
I don't know anything about them other than I hate them. Oh, and they're yellow. That's why.
Yeah, that's true. So what do you do for a living?
I make fuel systems for planes.
That sounds incredibly complicated. You must be very rich.
Oh yeah, I'm so rich, bro. Nah, we get paid shit wages.
So you make fuel systems for airplanes. Does that mean you're a grunt in a factory, or does that make you an
Yes.
engineer?
Yes, it makes me a grunt in a factory that was promised the chance of becoming an engineer and then bullshitted out of it.
Fun.
Yeah.
So you make like fuel systems for airplanes. Does that mean that you're responsible for chemtrails?
Oh fuck. The shill has been outed.
All right, moving on.
No, we do make missiles as well, but I'm not allowed to say who for.
Oh, fair enough. So what do you do? Like soldering and
Yes,
welding and stuff like that?
Cable harnesses, molding, etc.
All right. So is it for commercial, like airliners and stuff, or also military?
Both. We do have a commercial side, but I work on the
Alright.
military side, which is to like a higher spec and shit.
All right, that's fair enough. Do you have like an NDA then? Non-disclosure
Yes,
agreement?
I have
Like-
signed them.
All right, that's cool. I know a couple of other people who also work with military aircraft, and there's a lot of secrecy going in with that stuff.
A lot of it's for the Americans, like their government. Like we've got like an actual area in the on the shop floor. It's
Uh-huh.
downstairs in the Cryogenics, which is basically where they do like things for NASA, like making the Hubble telescope and whatnot.
Oh.
And the area has actually got like a seal on the door saying it's,
Yeah.
it's owned by like the US government. So-
Yeah. I heard about that. Some places where they like manufacture satellites and stuff is actually like international territory
Yeah.
because of like import laws and stuff. Because you're actually exporting things into space, so it makes the laws really
Yeah,
complicated.
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's cool. So, how long have you been working there?
I think it's gone up to 4 years now. I think I turned 18 whilst I was there. Yeah.
So you were working quite early then, straight out of like high school, or
Well, no. After high school, I went to a college where I basically didn't know anyone, and
Okay.
I dropped out of that with I want to die. I'm an emo, major depression disorder, and then I went into there was like something It was like you work whilst they try to look for apprenticeships for you.
Okay.
So
So like a work placement program?
Yeah, but they paid you like £15 a fucking week or something, and you were just doing hard labour.
Hmm. No, okay.
And the things I was doing on it weren't even related to the job I have now, so I'd have no idea how they got the apprenticeship for it. So
Right. So you don't actually have any particular education for what you're doing right now. It's just
no.
something that you were able to get into anyway.
You can like go through college through them, but basically the deal that they gave me was you go to college and stay on minimum wage, or you don't go to college and you go up in the system for pay rankings, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Do you have any prospects of continuing education later?
I've considered night school, but it's finding
Night school?
Yeah, it's finding time with it with the gym and everything else I want to do. So
But you could study full time?
I could, but then I wouldn't be able to do the things I want to. Like I want to start traveling, gym.
That's true.
And a couple other things that we're gonna talk about later, etc.
Yeah, fair enough. So, do you have any other hobbies aside from video games? You did mention one of them, I suppose.
Yeah, I've recently got into the fashion world, but mainly it's always been on and off gym, which is getting a bit hardcore now, and music is a great passion of mine.
Playing or listening?
Listening, because I am not talented enough to play it myself.
Right. You've never been in a band?
Oh, fuck no. Me and another person from the community, Richie, have spoke about doing a couple of songs together, but it's finding time for it, really.
Yeah, isn't that always the case, basically?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So, what games are you playing right now?
I don't play games, bro.
You don't play games?
I've become more of a normie over time, but I basically find it impossible to play single-player games, which is why I think I should start streaming or something, because then having an audience would push me to actually play shit that I want to.
Yeah.
But mainly it's just Counter-Strike at the moment, which is hell. Suka, and I guess, is Dungeons and Dragons considered a video game if you play it online?
No, but sure, why not?
I guess. And we've all played together, so
Yeah.
it's better than video games, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's good fun.
I have recently watched a playthrough of Firewatch, though, if that counts as playing it, because...
No, it doesn't. Even though that game has no gameplay, it doesn't
Yeah.
count.
That was lackluster and kind of put me off. Actually
Yeah.
trying to play single-player games for my own experience, but yeah.
Have you seen Firewatch, Anderson?
I've seen, I've seen a little bit of it.
Any thoughts?
It's beautiful.
Dear Esther sprung to mind.
Yeah, except it seems a little bit less overly pretentious and a little bit more kind of enjoyable.
The thing is, the guy who was playing it wasn't really taking it seriously, so he was ripping on it at the same time.
I suppose they could make it either better or worse, depending on how good the guy is at ripping on it.
It's basically, you've probably heard of Team 4-Star.
Yeah. Did they do like anime dubs?
Yeah. And the guy who does the voice for Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z does some stuff where he basically plays games, does Let's Plays, in character as Vegeta, the Prince of Saiyan.
Oh, that sounds
I can
absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I can see that being annoying after 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess if you like the humor that guy has and the character he does, it could be fun, but I don't know.
I bet
You just said Vegeta, and all I heard was pain.
All
really,
I heard
really
was
painful.
memes. That's the first thing I thought.
well, I really find his take on the character funny, so it's more about his version of the character reacting to the game than it is about the games themselves.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely that's true. It almost becomes like a stand-up routine with a video game backdrop in a way.
Almost, sorta, kinda, yeah.
Yeah, or I suppose more like Mystery Science Theater, or one of those things where they're mocking a film for a video game.
How many times does he mention inert balls, though?
I think he does some stuff. They have also done 2 Saiyans play where he does it together with the guy who does the voice of Nappa, And I think in one of their episodes they might mention it once, but I'm not even sure.
That's not that bad then, I guess.
A lot of the Dragon Ball Z memes, when they do take them up, they kind of take the piss out of them or deconstruct them.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good approach to take.
Yeah.
Like,
fair
what
enough.
does the scouter say about his power level? It's 1006. You can take him. Go ahead. And then Nappa gets his ass kicked, and he's like, oh, wait, I had it upside down.
That's different, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, I suppose. It could get tiresome, but if they handle it well, that's fair enough.
Yeah, video games.
Yeah, so Firewatch, I hear it's pretty, like, almost Lovecraftian. I don't know if I want to go into spoilers, but suffice to say, the ending is like, really bad.
Yes, the ending is absolutely fucking terrible, and I hated it. It made me... All the feelings that I felt throughout the entire game, I was just watching it thinking... I was like, basically on the edge of my seat waiting for the next Let's Play to be released. Yeah. And then there's just so much mystery about it and so many like options to go down. And I don't know how far you can actually go down those routes, but...
I hear
so
not
things.
Terribly lot. I think there's a lot of illusion of choice in it.
Yes, that's the thing. And I think they more so create, like, the element of mystery is fucking with the player more so than there actually being a mystery.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like Lost, where
yes,
they presented this great big mystery, but there never actually was anything to it. They never had any plans for it. It was just throwing in random mysterious shit just for the sake of it and trying to piece it together later.
Dude, spoilers.
If you haven't watched Lost at this point, you probably never will, and probably never should.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, but it's Firewatch is quite short. I hear it seems like they could have used another like 2-3 hours of gameplay to actually finish the story in a better way. Anyway, moving on. Anderson, we have some topics for today. What are they?
Wait. Oh shit, we fucked up.
We did?
Yeah. We don't have a question of the week.
We don't have a question of the week. We gotta come up with something on the spot.
Alright, well, okay, I have one, because that's a regular question we took out, so we can use that as question of the week for Kriya, being the massive weeb that he is. Who is your waifu?
Chitage from Nisekoi.
He actually had an answer for that.
It didn't even have to think.
Dude, I'm looking up at the figurine of her right now, just thinking I wish she were real. People often forget how much of a fucking weeb I am when they see me.
Yeah, suppose you don't really look like an otaku.
Nah.
But then I talk to you about like TV shows, and you're like, nah, bruh, I don't watch TV, only anime.
Fuck your Western shit, man.
The fuck, man.
I honestly cannot watch like actual like TV with real people because I hate people. I just see them and I see like the certain things they do, and I'm just like, no, why would I watch this 3D bullshit?
You do realize that anime is made by people, right?
Just fuck off. No, it's not. It's just a camera into another world. Ruining my fucking fantasies, bro.
Come on, anime is Japanese. It's obviously made by robots.
That's true.
And tentacle creatures.
So, Kriya, you like going to the gym?
Nobody likes going to the gym, I guess. But it's something you do.
You still do it like 4 or 5 times a week, don't you?
I was going 5, but I cut it down to 4 now because fuck going on the weekend.
How the fuck were you going to the gym 5 times a week? I mean,
when I was first like losing weight, because I started off at like 14 stone. However you want to translate that.
Oh god, 14 stones. What's that in?
I don't know, bro.
I think that's 72 snargleburgles.
Yeah, that's like 406 pebbles, I think.
Don't judge me. Judge my
sure.
fucking system of the country. Like I don't choose it.
But that's not like grossly obese.
No,
at any rate.
No. It's like man boobs, basically.
Okay.
And I was going like 7 days a week, and I was doing that.
Did you just start off immediately going 7 days a week from nothing, or have you always kind of gone to the gym now and again?
I went like 2 years ago before that, and then I dropped a 30 kg on my ribs. So I stopped going after that, and I thought once that gets better, I'll start going again, and I just didn't for 2 years.
Don't you mean you dropped like a 6 stone on your ribs or something, for fuck's
Fuck
sake?
off.
You can't have weights in kilograms and then measure your own
choose,
weight
bro.
in stones. What the fuck,
Did you say
Britton?
14 stone?
Yes.
Okay, so for those out there not used to retarded monkey measurements, that is just shy of 89 kilo.
Okay, keep that open and then get ready to change numbers, because in 2 weeks I went from 14 stone to 12 stone.
That is 76 kilo.
Yes.
So you... Okay, that's pretty impressive. How?
That is...
Did you like amputate a leg or something?
That is, stop eating as much. Basically, I wasn't even like calculating macros or anything back then. I was just eat like 6 very small meals a day, run every day, go 7 weeks a day, 7 weeks a day, 7 days a week.
7 weeks a day. Yeah.
All week, every day.
Yeah.
And basically just using ECA.
ECA?
That's ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin, which causes thermogenesis in your body.
Right, so you get really warm?
Yes, and you...
Do you basically get a fever by doing that, or what?
It can affect people in different ways, but you just sweat it out, really. Like
What's the first one you said? Ephedrine?
ephedrine. I'm pretty sure it's used to treat, like, asthmatics.
Oh, okay. I guess it does something to your blood vessels or something?
That's the aspirin. Aspirin widens your blood vessels, or thins your blood, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the meaning behind that in the whole process is more blood pumps around, more oxygen to your body, etc.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the ephedrine and the caffeine are the things that react and cause thermogenesis.
Does it also increase your pulse and stuff?
Oh yeah, you can get palpitations and shit.
Oh, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
So is it like a pill with all 3 of them in it? Or
Yes.
did you like drink a shitload of coffee and take like tablets of aspirin?
People do it that way, but I just get the pills.
Fair enough. You still do it? Or was it just temporary?
That was just my initial thing into, like, I wanted to work my way up from being skinny from the get-go. Like, so I just lost all that weight, and then now I'm bulking, so...
So you're back up to 14 stone or whatever?
15.
But it's not just pudginess these days, or...
There's a bit of fat, because the way it works with bulking is you put on fat and muscle. Like, when you're gaining mass, it's impossible to not put any fat on. People try to cut down on it by doing cardio and clean bulking, which doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
Fair enough. It's kind of interesting hearing people talking about how they are eating like 9,000 calories a day and shit.
Oh,
It's
fuck
like...
that. There's the Eddie Hall trains at the gym I go to sometimes, and he eats 10,000 calories a day.
How?
He is absolutely massive. Like, if a normal person stands behind him, you can't see them.
But then, don't you have to like eat continuously?
Oh, yeah.
Like...
There's certain cases of, like, certain bodybuilders. I can't remember who it was. It was a Mr. Olympia winner, and he used to, like, wake up in the night just to eat.
What, is that his alarm?
Yeah. Because there's not enough time in the day for him to physically eat enough to maintain his body weight. It's ridiculous.
It is really ridiculous, especially when you consider how many people struggle with obesity and stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's these assholes who fucking wake up to eat extra stuff.
Well,
Jesus Christ.
A lot die before they're 40, so...
That's true. Just can't be especially healthy.
And when
especially not with steroids and other...
Yeah, when you're that big, it's not just food. There is a certain point your body cannot get any bigger without steroids.
Yeah, for sure. So have you done any steroids?
Yes. A very mild one. It's so mild that even women can use it with, the whole hormone issue.
Uh-huh. So you're not gonna start growing tits or anything?
The whole thing with that is actually bullshit. Steroids don't give you tits. They make the condition worse if it's a pre-existing condition.
Fair enough.
Like
it's just that a lot of like bodybuilders or whatever you want to call them have rather pronounced like breasts. I guess
those are called pectorals.
Yeah,
I guess, but they look kind of...
It's genetics. People can have like barrel chests and have like carved out chests and different things.
Fair enough. I've heard about like people starting to lactate and stuff though, but I think that's more with
that's really like human
transition. What do you call it? Fucking female hormones like estrogen and stuff.
Yeah.
like I think there's some protein in soy. So if you eat a lot of like soy protein or soy milk or something like that,
Doesn't surprise
that
me
mimics estrogen in the body and can make you start to actually develop breasts and start lactating.
Yeah, it makes sense for pussy vegans to start getting breasts and lactate.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
fair enough.
the steroids don't do that. They just make things worse, like acne, balding, gyno, however you want to say it.
Gyno?
Yeah, man boobs.
Oh, I see. Yeah, oh yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, they just make it worse if it's already existing.
Yeah. And also they can interfere with your sex drive and make you impotent.
Oh yeah, I
various
experienced
other
that.
things like that. Oh, you did?
Yeah, the sex drive thing's weird. You go like you have cycles, like at the beginning you'll just have no sex drive whatsoever. And then like 2 weeks later it's just like off the charts. Because the one that I took, basically you stop producing your own testosterone and it's like synthesized.
Right.
So you're not really in control of it, but once you stop doing it, you just start producing it again. So your hormones are everywhere.
Yeah, fair enough. I suppose you kind of throw it out of balance a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's fair enough. So why do you end up doing that?
I'm impatient as fuck.
All right. Are you aware of the repercussions that can occur? I mean, did you consider it?
I'm not the kind of person that thinks about that. I just kind of deal with it once it happens. Like
fair enough.
Like I guess you knew before, like my heart was going insane.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, I was getting like palpitations and like it'd feel like my heart had popped at one point.
Once your heart starts acting up really funny, I mean, okay, fair enough. You might be able to sort of ignore that or something. Like you might be able to deal with it. But then when your dick stops working, come on, man, it's time to quit it.
But with the whole heart thing, like it's really weird because like you can't tell if it's your heart or if it's like your chest muscles are aching around your heart, and, like you're pulling something constantly.
Yeah.
But yeah, when my heart felt like it popped, that's when I was like, okay, I need to get an echocardiogram.
When it felt like it popped,
yes.
Just
imagine a heart popping, just like exploding, just like.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay.
I had that, and then went
I
for
had
tests.
that when my crush put me in the friend zone.
Friend zone doesn't exist. But yeah,
sure it does.
I went for tests, and then it actually came back, and they thought I had like hepatitis A, B, C, or liver cancer.
Oh.
So that was great. Because of obviously the toxicity in your liver from it.
Right, so you had like a bunch of products in your blood that would be the result of those sicknesses, except it came from the steroids or something?
Yeah, I don't know if it just produced like similar like things that they could look for, but
wow,
it's clear. So,
all right, and your heart was fine?
On paper, I still get pains, but
oh god, pains.
Like so, I can't sleep on my left side.
So why are you putting yourself through this? You say you're impatient as fuck. Impatient for what? Why do you need to get swole? Why do you need to train?
I think it's just the aesthetics as a lifestyle, I guess. Vape life. I don't know.
That's.
Could someone explain that to me? Because the other day, all of chat was like aesthetics, and misspelling it in 7,000 different ways, and someone was queuing up some really shitty music, and I don't know what the hell is going on.
It's pretentious bollocks, just like fucking kids.
Like, yeah, pretty much.
It's kids slowing down old music, adding like just like synths into it and stuff, and adding really bullshit like Art Deco crap.
Not Art Deco. It's like 80s computer graphics and stuff. It's a genre of music called Vaporwave. It's not really all that complicated, but yeah, it's a thing.
I think I get Vaporwave. I don't get the memes around it.
I guess it's kind of mocking sort of the hipsterish, like, the reaction to it. Like, people are so incredibly impressed, like giving the albums they released like 5 out of 5, like This Changed My World, such impressive aesthetics, that kind of stuff. And basically talking about like the golden ratio and pulling all of these sort of design philosophies into it, when it's really just like somebody opened up MS Paint and took a bunch of things from the 80s.
So it's a subgenre. subgenre circle jerk.
Yeah,
of
pretty
pretentious irony, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I want that on a t-shirt though. Like the aesthetics is a lifestyle. That's beautiful, man. That is beautiful.
It's like the gym life though. The reason I do it, I think it's kind of an ego thing.
So you're just
like,
really vain.
I think it's more so wanting to be vain. Like I live my life like being
wanting to be vain.
Yeah, like I live my life being like average. I was like fat with quotes.
Not really though, at like 89 kilos or whatever.
Yeah, but all my body mass is basically fat at that point, so there's like no muscle on me. But I was like long hair, wearing black clothes, never getting any attention. Well, I guess I did, but in the wrong crowds. And it's just like wanting to be the ultimate of yourself in every aspect, I guess, like educating yourself on like everything, plus educating yourself on the gym lifestyle, all the mathematical equations that go into calculating macros.
Yeah, I mean, it is it's a fucking rabbit hole. You can really sink yourself into all the nutritional information and exercise and fitness and stuff in general. But I don't know, I think it's interesting because actually, Anderson, have you gotten back on that horse yet at all?
Since 2 weeks ago? No.
Yeah? No?
I was gonna go today, but then my girlfriend stayed till today rather than going home yesterday as was planned. And it kind of drug out before she went home, so...
So you just did cardio that day then, huh?
So, no. On one hand, I will say I am planning to go tomorrow, no excuses. On the other hand, that's exactly what I've been saying for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's really easy to get into the routine of not going, more so than going.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to go once you're in the routine, but especially for me, because, and I know this sounds like a lame old excuse, and it is, but I have a depression. And that just makes it so much easier to fall off the horse, because there are some days where I am literally incapable of going. There are some days where just getting out of bed is a monumental achievement.
Yeah, it's more important to focus on not killing yourself rather than getting to the gym for a day.
Yeah, and then when you have 1 or 2 days like this, that's enough to get into the habit of not going, and then you have to start over getting into the routine of getting your ass out there.
God, I am so familiar with that feeling. It's
the same thing that happened to my programming.
It's a very recurring feature of my life.
Have you considered getting a partner though to train with?
Yeah, I had one. He kept flaking on me.
That is the worst.
And he kept. I mean, one thing is, if he cancels, that's fair enough. But the second one, I was always the one calling him, going, "Okay, are we gonna train?" Or, well, not calling, texting or skyping him. Yeah. The second time, I messaged him and said, "Are we going?" And he didn't even have the fucking common courtesy to give me an answer. Not even after the fact. Is the day I just stopped bothering with messaging him at all.
But instead, you need to take that like the way I did, and I know a few people at the gym did. You say, fuck that, I'm going to go to the gym anyway. And you look out for the people that train there all the time at the same time as you, and you just speak to them.
No.
I
One,
could
social
never
anxieties.
ever do that. Yeah.
2, my gym is tiny. If 3 people are there, it's crowded. I usually go at times when nobody's there.
Like, I used to have social anxiety disorder, but I worked through it, and like now, everyone at the gym, like every single person knows me and speaks to me. All I have to do is just walk over and ask someone if they want to train something today, and it's guaranteed that there's going to be someone training the same muscle groups as me. And you just speak to them and ask them if they want to get into a routine with you. Or...
Man, Sam, you're such a normie.
My plan right now is to wait for my girlfriend to get an apartment. She lives about 40 clicks away, and she's looking for an apartment in this town as close to me as possible. So once she moves, she and I will start training together.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Speaking of training with your girlfriend though, like my friend is ridiculously strong. He like benches 120 kg after training for 2 years. And that's
a lot, is it?
That's a lot.
I'm not particularly
that is quite
aware of like the what an average person does. Like, could I bench 60, do you think?
Yes. You can bench 60.
Yeah.
But I think anything after that, you're going to be struggling.
All right.
But he benches 120 after like 2 years of training, which is ridiculous.
All right.
And what he does is like you have a spotter looking out for you.
Mm-hmm.
He has this girlfriend who is like, she's like 4'9" or something. She's
Oh,
tiny.
for fuck's sake, another fucking set of retard measurements.
Whatever.
It's like 160
Let's just say
centimeters
she's
or something.
tiny and skinny.
Yeah.
She's so frail. And he
Uh-huh.
has a spotter because he knows that if he drops that, there's no way that she can save him. So it pushes him to actually bench
That's
it more.
so dumb.
I know. This is the same nutcase that picks me up from work in his car while sticking his foot out the window of the car. So
I mean, I almost do that. I just bench without a spotter.
That's true. But yeah, hopefully you don't push yourself to the point where if you drop that thing, you're dead.
No,
yeah,
unfortunately.
120 kg dropping on your chest, you're dead.
Yeah. I mean, if your arms just break or like bend, whatever. If you aren't able to slow that down and it just drops from that height, it's just gonna crush your ribcage.
He's really intelligent about like the way he's been training. He learns as he trains, so now he knows his limits and shit. So
Fair enough. Is there not any kind of machine or anything you can use to bench? Do you have to do free weights?
there is, but you aren't getting the same movement out of it. Really, it's
Alright.
just basically the pussy option.
Fair enough. I mean, I'd imagine there could be some kind of way where you like have a rope around the bar and like it can't go lower than like 1 centimeter above your chest, if that makes any sense. But I don't know if that kind
Certain
of system
smithing
works.
machines that you bench on, they have like a mechanism. If the weight drops too fast, then it'll just lock.
I mean,
Yeah,
a-
exactly,
A,
something like
squat
that.
cage is basically that, the way many people use it. Where
Yeah, I
you
guess.
have bars across, so basically you're doing free weight squats with a barbell across your neck, and you have bars across in the cage, so that the barbell can only go so far down. So that
Right.
if you give way, it'll stop at like hip height instead of going all the way down and crushing you.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. I've seen some fucking terrible like videos and gifs of gym disasters.
People are
where-
fucking idiots, mate. Like people just
Yeah.
go into the gym and don't like educate themselves on it. Like if you're gonna motivate yourself to make a life-changing decision, like to
Yeah.
get in shape, you've got to fucking put the effort in and just read and just like
yeah,
look at a video.
definitely. I mean, if you go to the gym and you don't know what you're doing, you can easily do more harm than good. Like, it's super easy.
I see people walking in there and they start training chest and they'll take up all the weights, go onto like legs and then start doing back, and it's like you're not doing anything for your body other than just fucking yourself up.
Yeah.
It annoys me, but I guess
Yeah.
everyone has to start there.
It's true. Anyway, I'd never go to the gym for aesthetics. I don't have enough care for my personal appearance that, like, I'd never bother about having, like, a six-pack or visible muscles or whatever.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's the health aspect to it, which makes it kind of interesting that you're going to the gym and doing all these things sort of in spite of your health. Like, your health is actively deteriorating.
Oh yeah.
Whereas I would never do that. I'd definitely just do the opposite. My health is deteriorating because I'm not going to the gym right now. You know.
It's the Ziz lifestyle, I guess. Like live fast, die young. You just burn bright.
Yeah, that's true. Leave a beautiful corpse.
Yeah.
I'm even worse, in a way, because I am super vain and I really want those muscles for all kinds of ego, vanity reasons. I just don't have the will to actually do something about it. I'm too lazy. Too many
Yeah.
excuses are too easy.
Yeah,
You have got something good going for you though. Like when you're overweight, you get big calves, and that's the only way you can get big calves is by being
I have wonderful calves. Calves and thighs I'm good on.
Yeah, that's the thing that all bodybuilders envy. They wish they would have been fat before they started training because you can't gain calves.
fair enough. All right. Shall we move on to our next topic?
Oh yeah,
Anderson?
there are other topics.
Yeah.
So Kriya, you probably don't really have much of an opinion on this, not that I've seen in chat, but just in case, do you have any feelings about immigration?
I do.
That was beautiful, Anderson. That was beautiful.
If you're speaking about the Syrian immigration thing in specific, yes.
Well,
That
sure,
and
we
in
can start
general.
there.
The thing that disgusts me with the whole Syrian situation is that these people, we don't owe them anything, yet they travel across like 6 countries, coming all these countries they can stop off in, like Hungary, Finland, whatever, but they stop off.
I don't think they're going from Syria through Hungary and Finland
I don't mean
get to the UK.
in that order. I don't mean in that order.
I don't actually
But
know
yeah.
where the fuck even is Syria, honestly.
It's in the Middle East.
But they travel through all these countries, spending all of their money just to get to England because they know that the benefit system is going to nurture them in such a way that they'll never have to work, and they get as much out of us as possible whilst doing the minimum. And the thing is, when we reject them, they've spent all of their life savings getting here.
Yeah.
They can't go back.
It's really a tough sort of situation because well, I suppose you can, but you can't just let them die. Like, you can't just let them die on the streets. They're people. They're fleeing from a war. At least Syrians, like the people who actually are from Syria.
Are they fleeing from a war though?
Yeah. I mean, the people from Syria definitely are, but then there's a lot of economic migrants from
It was found out to
North
be like
Africa right now that
was
are
found
fleeing
out to be
from
like-
Libya and stuff.
it was like 30. I think it was like 30% of the immigrants that were claimed to be Syrian were actually Syrian.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
half of them from like Pakistan and like Saudi Arabia and shit.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of economic migrants as well, but especially from North Africa. Africa. I can't fucking talk.
And if you've been paying attention to like the conspiracy world, all these like immigrants were coming in, and like they've had photos of them like coming through, and they've been matched to be like extremists, just taking photographs with photographers,
Yeah,
and they just let them in because
of course.
it's insane.
I mean,
also, isn't there something about a lot of big, heavily muscled, bearded 12-year-old boys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Sweden, at least, if you are below the age of 18, it is almost automatic to get what do you call it, like a migrant status or whatever. So you get to stay in the country and get treated and all that kind of stuff. So you just look at the pictures of these people. They're clearly 30. They have full beards and stuff, and they're like, no, I'm actually 16. Yeah, all right.
There's a point where you have to weigh it up, like
Yeah.
the benefits of allowing all these people in going down to the disadvantages.
Yeah.
Like the amount of the extremists that are coming in, is it worth the amount of people that are coming in that could previously stop off at other countries that wouldn't be such obvious targets for extremism?
Can't you age people? I mean, I know you can't cut them in half and count the rings, but there has to
you
be
can.
some method.
Yeah, you definitely can. Norway started doing age tests on their migrants, and a very high percentage, I don't know the exact number, but I think above 50%, were a lot older than they claim to be. I believe one of the most common ways to do is looking at teeth. Like you do a dentist's dental exam, because there's a pattern of how teeth get ground down and stuff as you age. And then I guess there are other ways, but I don't know exactly how those work.
One thing I don't get, and this is going to sound slightly racist of me, so that's fine,
All right, I'm hype.
is that we are here in the North and the West, and we're supposed to be charitable towards all these Middle Eastern Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
Why?
that's fine. If you believe in charity to all people, then charity to all people. But they have neighbors that are these super rich Middle Eastern Muslims that refuse to do fuck.
They're their own kind of Muslims.
So why don't... I don't know, there should be some kind of pressure forcing them to do more. I mean, if Norway suddenly collapsed, there would be a lot of Norwegian refugees in Denmark and Sweden, and they'd be welcome, but I really don't think Syria would take in that many.
No, it's kind of disgusting. Like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and these really, really, really rich oil countries take in almost zero refugees.
You can't pressure them because of their ties with America. You cannot pressure them whatsoever.
Yeah.
These are the same people, like in Turkey, that are selling and buying oil from ISIS. Like, how can you touch them? You can't pressure them to do anything.
It's ridiculous. I mean, before Russia started doing airstrikes against the illegal oil deliveries, ISIS was just selling oil without anybody giving a fuck. Like US would intentionally not bomb their oil convoys because it would drive down the price of oil if they were allowed to go into Turkey and sell their oil.
Plus, why would the US bomb their own people?
That's true. I mean, if you employ somebody at the CIA, it would be stupid to then just drop a bomb on them.
Well, they're not even the CIA. It's the CIA, like, purchasing mercenaries.
Mercenaries?
Mercenaries. Yeah, they're all mercenaries.
mercenaries.
Wait,
Is that
wait,
like
so
the,
what-
the Jewish mercenaries?
So what you're saying is that ISIS doesn't actually exist. It's just an Obama cover-up.
I wouldn't say an Obama cover-up. I'd say it's a cover-up for what they're actually doing. Like, it's the backlash from Al Qaeda.
Yeah, I mean, it's in my mind pretty indisputable that the US caused ISIS.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they funded them or smuggled weapons
But
to
they did.
them, although there is evidence for that. But I'm not even saying that. By invading Iraq and overthrowing Saddam Hussein, they destabilized the entire region, and something was going to emerge out of that, some sort of new military
Power structure.
caliphate. Yeah, like a new power structure had to emerge, because Saddam was basically the only thing keeping Iraq in order, because Iraq isn't a real country. It's filled with at least 3 different nationalities. What do you call them?
Ethnic groups?
Ethnic groups, thank you, which really don't want to have anything to do with each other. So when you removed like the strongman that was keeping it all together, it was bound to collapse into some kind of mess, and then ISIS rose out of it.
But it is actually on paper that the CIA have funded and given arms.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they have at least given arms to quote-unquote moderate militants, rebel groups and stuff, with the intention to overthrow Bashir al-Assad. Is his name, I think?
Like they're just as bad though. Because the person that used to be in charge of Al Qaeda, like one of the higher ups, he's in the government now.
Yeah.
Like it's just a back and forth of like what they're benefiting from, what they gain, they give the most arms to.
Yeah, and I mean the US is also indirectly supporting ISIS a lot through Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is like a top US ally, and their government is part of a Muslim cult called the Wahhabis. And they're basically the entire reason why radical Islam has become such a big thing again. If you look at like pictures from the 70s and stuff of Iran, there were like people bathing in bikinis and stuff in pools outside in their hotels and stuff. Like, I mean, women were not forced to wear burqas and stuff before this recent like surge of Wahhabism.
Yeah, but it was never actually the way it looked. Like the women weren't actually free. Like I've seen accounts of like people that actually lived there, and basically the way they saw it when they started allowing women to go to university, it was the same as they saw it as sending your dog to a dog school, basically.
Yes, I mean I'm sure it was never like free as in the West, but I'm also fairly convinced that it was better than it is now. I think it's gone backwards a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas sort of in the West, we've kind of kept progress going forward in terms of giving more people more rights and stuff.
And see where that has brought us. Sweden,
earlier.
yes.
Yeah, I suppose we might go a little bit overboard, but yeah. But I mean, the immigration crisis is so difficult because the moral implication of it is so difficult. I think it's almost impossible from a moral standpoint to justify turning away war refugees.
Yeah, but when it's really easy to ignore those morals when you take in the fact that they've come through all those countries and turned it away just for a better option.
I don't know. I mean, if suddenly Russia invaded Sweden and my family decided we had to flee, and I knew that if I went to like Denmark, I'd have to live on the street, it would be a pissy existence. But if I went to Germany, I'd be able to get my own apartment and stuff. We'd probably end up going to Germany. I mean, it's not that crazy from their own rationale, you know?
Yes, that's fine, but when they come over here and they start claiming benefits and they start sectioning themselves off into ghettos and just refusing to like merge cultures. Like around here, like it's very ethnic, and we like try to embrace like different cultures and merge them together by putting like two different groups next to each other.
I mean,
they just section themselves off completely, and they refuse to speak to the locals.
The segregation, the self-segregation of immigrants is a huge problem here as well. We have ghettos in Stockholm and Malmö, like two of our biggest cities, that are basically really, really, really scary for white people to go into. And even police, when they go there, like, they get rocks thrown at their cars and stuff, and they can't do anything about it. And, like, Sweden is generally really peaceful. We have really strict gun control and stuff like that. But in these ghettos, there's a lot of guns flowing around, and, like, at least, like, once a month, there's news report of, like, hand grenades and shit exploding, people setting fire to cars, and it's really, really different.
Yeah,
it's really like there's a small part of the Middle East in the middle of
I
Sweden.
really feel like if you throw rocks at the police, they should be allowed to shoot you. I honestly feel that.
I definitely don't agree with that, but
A rock thrown unluckily can kill you. So yeah, they should definitely be allowed to wing you.
they should be allowed to defend themselves if they are in lethal danger, but I don't think they should attack back in reprisal.
I believe that those people should be detained. They should have their families brought up on record, and they should have their doors kicked down, their families dragged out into the streets and questioned, because if they're doing those kind of actions, it really does make you question what they're up to as well.
That's kind of true, although I strongly disagree with punishing somebody's family for an act that you
But these
do.
people have been known for, like, harbouring families of doing it. Like, I was in a taxi before, it was, 2 years ago, just walking, you don't walk in a taxi. But,
I was in a taxi walking home.
I was just getting a taxi to a cricket club. For,
What? A cricket club, you fucking Brit.
That's the thing, it wasn't even like a cricket team in there, it was a rugby team. But anyway,
What? Okay.
the taxi driver was talking to me about a bunch of shit about, like, acid rain and stuff, and then he started going on to talking about how his cousin, like, makes bombs.
What?
I'm like, what, you mean for, like, the same that I do? I was talking about my job. That's how the conversation came up. I was like, what, does he make it like the US government for the US Ministry of Defense or whatever? He's just like, no. He makes
No, he just
for
makes IEDs for
yeah,
fucking
he literally
ISIS.
makes IEDs.
Ugh.
I'm like, have you reported him? He's like, no, he's my cousin, isn't it, mate? I'm
Oh,
like,
for fuck's sake.
yeah. And another case, I was literally walking home. It was in winter, I think it was a year ago, 1 or 2 years ago. So it was pitch black, and there was literally a group of about 20 of these like Pakistanis or wherever they are.
Uh-huh.
And I was on the opposite side of the road. They run across the road, swing at me, like not actually trying to hit me, but just like swinging their fist near my face and started fucking spitting at me. And I was just like, okay, because
Yeah.
it's a white boy walking through their neighborhood.
Their turf.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I have no other way to get home other than going like an hour out of my way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really difficult to not become racist when people who have a certain skin color treat you in a certain way. It's just
It's a defense mechanism.
It's just a human psychology thing. If you go home that path and get attacked by these people who have brown skin like 10 times, the 11th time you go home and you see a brown person, you're gonna react violently or scared towards him, even if he's perfectly innocent, just
same
because
as
of the
a-
association your mind has built
It's the same
towards
as a
him.
dog. Like, a dog bites you when you're a kid. They
Yeah, yeah,
fear
yeah,
a dog.
yeah.
We actually
It's
have a
become-
saying for that in Denmark. It translates into something like, "The burnt child shies away from fire."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's very counterproductive as well.
It's hard to justify. Like, it's easy and hard to justify racism
Yeah,
because,
it really is.
in
I mean,
a sense,
I
it comes down to experience, and like
Yeah.
your personal experience is going to be different. Like, if someone says, "Yeah, I hate all Pakis," maybe they've been assaulted by all the Pakis they've known.
yeah,
But whereas
exactly.
someone will
I
be,
mean,
someone always has the point. I know quite a few of them that are really nice people. It's like that's
Yeah,
your
yeah.
experience, though.
yeah, I think that it's really dumb and intellectually dishonest to be racist, basically, to like apply traits or characteristics to a whole group of people based on skin color or based on their nationality and everything. But I do think that there is a difference in culture between us in the West and Middle East and Africa and even Asia, etc.
Oh yeah, like you can argue that
It's not racist to point that out. We can say that female genital mutilation is a fucking abhorrent tradition. That culture is
Genital
inferior.
mutilation is a fucking abhorrent tradition. Thank you.
Yeah, well,
there's also cases in the Middle East where basically if a woman wants to leave the religion, what they will do is they will kill her and then they will rape her so that she is now impure from being raped, so that they cannot go to heaven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, and if you start pointing out these differences in culture, you're like, oh no, that's just the extremists. Like, no, it's not. It's like Sharia law is practiced in a large area of those countries.
Yeah.
And you get called a racist for saying that you don't like the culture. Like, it's, I don't know how people can justify it.
You know, it's just this, like, it's kind of a cliche, I guess, but, you know, I don't hate Muslims, I hate Islam.
Yeah. It's the same thing, but you say one you're a racist, the other you're a political genius, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's really... Sorry, go
I
ahead.
don't have much of a problem with immigrants myself. I mean, I don't like them, but then I don't like non-immigrants either. So it kind of just blends together. Like, I hate everyone as a rule, and then there are exceptions to that rule. So
Yeah.
It's very accurate.
I live in a place right now that is like 50% young, mostly white students, and 50% immigrants, just because of the way, like, this area is like subsidized by the government, I guess.
pretty close to my area.
Yeah. And honestly, I have absolutely no problem with, like, the immigrants around here. I've never been treated harshly or anything. I meet them at the store and stuff. Not like I hang out with my neighbors or anything, but I don't get treated any differently and don't treat them any differently than anyone else. But then you look at, like, these ghettos that I talked about earlier, and you just see the fucking collapse of society that's going on down there, and it's just...
The problem I'm having recently is I'm constantly debating my own morals. Like,
I don't think that's a problem. I don't think you should see that as a problem. I think that's something that's a very good character trait.
like I generally avoid, like, the Muslim areas and stuff, but it wasn't the other day, it was like a month ago, 2 months ago. I was walking home and I saw a bunch of, like, 13-year-olds just throwing bricks at this, like, Arab lad.
Mm.
And I just, like, walked past and I was like, okay, I'm just going to ignore this. And I turned around and I was just sort of shouting at them, and I was just like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? And they were like, he's a Paki. And I was like, so? I was like, what the fuck is your point, you little shit?
Yeah.
And, like, threw his back on the roof and then fucking told it the Arab lad. I was just like, just go, mate. And he was just like, thanks, mate.
Yeah.
And that's it. But I don't know. I think there's something in that as well, like the clash in cultures. Like, these children are being brought up in hatred, basically, when they don't even understand it, and their uneducated parents don't understand it themselves.
And I mean, it's easier in the UK than it is in other places. Just think about Israel. Like, that situation that you just had, that's the fucking entirety of Israel and Palestine. People who just hate each other for really no reason other than that they've been brought up in this hate. Obviously, no reason is a bit oversimplification, since there's the occupation and all that kind of stuff. But, like, that individual Palestinians hate individual Israelis, even though they're both civilians and don't really wish each other any ill, except for the fact that they have their own flag. It's really stupid and really difficult to sort of parse.
Yeah, and you get the problem where there is a lot of Islam blaming as well over there, and people see the Jews as the ones being attacked. Which is really just because America has sided with them.
Yeah.
And, like, you see
and
videos.
also because of the meme of sort of the historical persecution and all that kind of stuff.
Let's be honest here. Ever since World War II, just pointing out that you're a Jew is basically playing the victim card.
Yeah. Unfortunately, even if you're not doing it maliciously, that's true.
But I've seen videos on LiveLeak of where some kid, he was a Muslim child, I think he, like, attacked someone and then he ran off, and then I think someone shot him in the head or something, and he was just bleeding to death, just crying.
Yeah.
And a Jewish person was just getting up in his face and just shouting at him, screaming, telling him to die like the Muslim pig he is. And it's just like, people automatically just assume that the Jews are the victims.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just as bad on both sides.
I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter if it's a fucking suicide bomber in a car blowing up a school, an Israeli school of Jews, or if it's a Jewish fucking Tomahawk missile exploding a bunch of Palestinian kids. It's fucking horrendous either way. And it is a really complicated situation though, with Hamas like putting missiles and stuff in like hospitals and shit, and then sort of baiting Israel into attacking them. And then when Israel does, they've suddenly just, even if they've killed like 10 terrorists, they've suddenly created 100 new ones, because all of the families of those people who died and all the innocent people who got injured and shit are now going to hate Israel for their entire life.
Yeah, it's endless. I really do not think that the hatred between those two nations will ever end. It will never end.
There needs to be a two-state solution. Really, this is something that I've brought up on this podcast in the past, and I actually got like a surprising amount of comments like shouting at me. But well, either there needs to be a two-state solution, or Palestine needs to stop existing.
Class
Like,
the whole area.
They need to
Fuck 'em
to just get an army of bulldozers and just fucking shovel all of it into the fucking ocean.
Level the Gaza Strip. Just fuck it off. Like, what are they going to do then? Hate the West? Or they already do, so whatever.
Yeah.
Bottom line from this whole discussion, I think what we can all take away, an important lesson for us to carry and, use in the future, is that the Middle East sucks.
Yes.
Yeah,
and also, we will need to build a wall.
That is a beautiful transition. Trump for president.
Trump is winning the Republican nominee, it looks like at this point. He's gotten a lot of delegates and is polling incredibly high still, despite several of the other candidates dropping out and basically trying to consolidate the quote-unquote mainstream Republicans against him. He's still winning.
He won it 20 years ago.
What do you mean?
As we've discussed, democracy is an illusion.
All right.
Like, they've got these, like, I can't remember what the exact phrase was. Like, let's say the phrase was a voter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your vote counts for one vote. They've got these, like, super voters.
Yeah.
That count for, like, 50. And I can't remember who it was. It was a certain politician said that the people's vote doesn't count for anything because these people are already voting behind the scenes. So before the American public's votes are even counted, certain parties are going in with, like, 200 votes for, like, Trump, and then Bernie Sanders is getting, like, 2.
Yeah.
It's so rigged from the get-go, and people just refuse to believe it.
I mean, the American election system, even if you don't, buy into any conspiracy theories or anything, there doesn't need to be a smoke-filled room with people like, oh yes, let's elect Obama to be our puppet. You can just look at how the fucking system is set up with the Electoral College, where if you live in Texas and you voted for Barack Obama, your vote counted for exactly 0. Because there is literally no way a Democrat will win Texas, and the winner takes all of the sort of votes, the delegates from Texas. So if you're a Democrat in Texas, in the presidential election, you have literally 0 input.
It's the same over here. It's like, if like the UKIP got 70% of the votes in the country, but they don't win actual seats in certain places, like
if they get like 13% in all districts, but you need to have 15 to get one chair or whatever.
Yeah, you get 1 seat.
Yeah.
Out of about like 150.
I actually think it's better here. I could be misunderstanding Danish politics, but as I understand it, you get seats here as well, or mandates, but you get them based on just total number of votes. Done.
So, that's how it should be.
So they count up all the votes, and then they look at how many mandates there are, and they go, okay, well, you got this many percentage of the votes. You get this big slice of the mandates. Go. And then the mandates are how many seats on the Ting, the people Ting, which is basically...
The Reichstag.
Yeah. Folketing.
What the fuck is it called?
I guess,
the Parliament, I guess.
Yeah, the Danish Parliament.
The fucking Reichstag.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that's what it's called. But yeah, I mean, the UK also has this 2-house system, doesn't it? Where it has the House of Lords and the House of Representatives or something like that.
House of Commons.
Yes.
House of Commons, maybe, yeah. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I do remember seeing some videos on it, how basically something called gerrymandering is taking place, where the districts that elect... So like... England is split into like 100 districts, and instead of just having them be like squares or whatever representative of this district has 100,000 people and it's roughly squared off here. They have these really weird zigzaggy lines where like it cuts through the poor areas and includes the rich areas and stuff, basically grouping a certain type of voter together. So
it's a guaranteed win for that area, for a specific party.
Exactly. That's a huge problem in US politics as well, with this the districting. But yeah, it's democracy is an illusion. I mean, you don't have to believe in the Illuminati or the world government or anything to be convinced that at least you don't have as much input as they say you do. Like, your vote doesn't count. One vote is not one vote. You know, one person, one vote. That's not true. Certain votes in certain areas count for a lot more.
Yeah. And, I mean, it could be worse. I mean, Hillary Clinton could win.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Man, Trump versus Hillary in the general...
I'd take Trump all day.
Yeah, easily.
At least for the comedy value. Like,
I think he would win. I honestly think he would win, because Hillary is such a standard politician. I don't think that people want the standard politician. I don't think they want this fucking... the way she's changed her opinions with the wind and stuff. I mean... Yeah,
there's like a 15-minute video called Hillary Clinton Lying, where she is on film denied ever changing her votes and her stand on gay rights.
Yeah.
And then they link to a video of her literally saying that gay marriage should not be allowed because it's a constitution between a man and a woman and it's sacred.
Yeah, but of course, but the people back then, I mean, what do you call it? The popular sentiment back then was that it shouldn't be allowed. So she did whatever she had to do to get votes, especially back when her husband was president. I mean, she couldn't go out and have some contrary opinion. She had to go out and lie about what her opinion was. Tell the people whatever they wanted to hear.
But she could at least say that and admit to it. But she's a deceptive, lying, reptilian, evil cunt.
Can I just take a moment, because I don't follow American politics that much.
Yes.
And I'd like to have something to add. So can I just have the chance to share my favorite Hillary Clinton quote?
Yes.
Go for it.
Good. In wars, women are the real victims. They're the ones who lose fathers and husbands and sons.
Great.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
A loss is a loss, you stupid, evil cunt.
Yeah, but women are the real victims, not the men who die, but the women who lose their men.
Actually, isn't that incredibly misogynistic? Because she's saying that women are so useless and so helpless on their own that a woman losing her man is worse for her than it is for a man to die.
Hillary Clinton is like the biggest advocate for removing women's rights with abortion and whatsoever. So people think that by voting for a woman that they're making, it's change. We had a black president, now we can have a woman. I'm being progressive. No, you're not. Any woman that does research and then still votes for Hillary Clinton, you should be ashamed of yourself.
If you vote for Hillary Clinton over Trump, that's fair enough in that point. But if you vote for Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders on that point, then you're just straight up deluded.
That's actually really funny. I just think it's hilarious that the most...
Hilarious? Sorry, go ahead.
That the most, progressive, most non-conform, most non-traditional viable president right now is, a rich old white guy.
Yeah. Although he is Jewish, not Christian, so that's a bit different.
I don't think that's...
Oh, come on, Jews own America.
There's never been a Jewish president. There's never been a non-Christian president.
No.
Not that you know of.
So... Well, what is that supposed to mean?
Come
is Obama
on,
a secret Jew?
Nah,
I've never heard that one before.
World War II was fashioned by the Jews so that they could go into power in America and own the banking system. We all know this.
So they could own the Fed?
There was a point in which there could only be, on Wall Street, you had to be Jewish or you wouldn't get any work.
Yeah, I mean, there has been those points a lot through history where Jews exclusively controlled banking and so forth.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's just like promoting your nephew. I forget what that word is called. Nepotism, thank you.
George Carlin said it really well. There doesn't need to be a formal conspiracy of people sitting in a dark room and agreeing to something. If you have a bunch of people in power that have the same agenda, that have the same goals, and that stand to gain from the same things, then you have a de facto conspiracy, even if there isn't an official conspiracy.
Well, I mean, the conspiracy literally means that people conspire for something. But yeah, I get your point. There's a movement, or whatever you want to call it, towards that end, and that's definitely true for a lot of things.
Which makes it so easy to believe in things like the Illuminati.
Yeah,
and the whole Rothschild situation. It's so easy to buy into it when you're faced with these facts.
Especially when things like the Bilderberg Group actually exist.
Yeah,
and,
people fucking
and world
literally,
leaders like meet in secret and stuff like
literally worshipping owls. Like people have gone in with like cameras and recorded like Hillary Clinton like worshipping an owl.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous.
What is it? Is it the Moldoc or something?
Yeah. It's like a symbol of wisdom or something like that, I think.
It's insane.
Yeah. But yeah.
Speaking of Christian and non-Christian presidents, isn't Bernie Sanders an avowed atheist?
I think it's kind of on the DL for him, because
his religion hasn't really been a topic in the media.
Yeah. I think he's basically a cultural Jew, as they call them. You know, he probably went to temple at some point. He's probably circumcised and stuff, but I don't think
that's one thing that annoys the piss out of me about Jews. Can we have Jews as an ethnic group or Jews as a religion, and not have both? Because that's confusing as piss.
They're the same, basically. It's really difficult to get into Judaism. It's really difficult to convert to become a Jew, so... But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
But you have a lot of people who are Jewish but aren't necessarily Jews.
Yeah, I suppose.
I guess that becomes more convoluted because of America and the whole integrating people having mixed marriages and stuff. Like nowadays, it's confusing as to what is a Jew.
It gets extra confusing as well because Muslims are not an ethnic group. It's just a religion. It's a religious affiliation. Being Muslim has nothing to do with what your heritage is, whereas being Jewish is
exactly, and that's what annoys me.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be racist towards a Muslim, but you can be racist towards Muslims, but you can be racist towards Jews. So,
yeah, it's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of conspiracies.
Yeah, speaking of conspiracies, Kriya, why don't you... wow, I said Kriya, that sounded so weird. Sam, why don't you bring up one of your guest topics for today?
I think I would like to mention psychedelic mushrooms.
All right.
The Amanita muscaria.
Isn't that fly thingy super toxic? Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's is it psilocybin mushroom?
Yeah, that's the bad one. The Amanita is the red with white speckled mushrooms.
Yeah. I thought that one was really toxic.
No.
Oh. Well, there is a mushroom in Sweden with that's red with white.
I think there's a whole family
of them. That's really poisonous. Although supposedly Vikings used to eat those to enter like a berserk rage. Although I think that's pretty much an apocryphal story.
Yeah, but basically there's a theory that these mushrooms were given out by shamans or shamans. How should I say it?
Whichever shamans.
Shamans in the Siberian and Arctic regions. Which is basically the story of Santa Claus, where that title was put onto shamans that went around like the teepees of the locals, and they give them presents.
If it's up there.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
And they give them hallucinogenic mushrooms as presents.
Hallucinogenic mushrooms for president. And the only candidate who can stump the Trump.
Now I'm picturing Trump as a mushroom.
And
he doesn't look that much different in my head.
No, exactly.
But yeah,
with that orange cap he's got on, like
there are so many links going towards like the modern Christmas Day story about Santa, because the snow in those areas would block the doors, so they'd make like a hole in the roof, which is like a thatch or whatever, a chimney. So he'd go down them and deliver these presents, which were Amanita.
All right.
And the color of these mushrooms is actually where Santa gets his colors from, because they're red and white. And basically, what they'd do to dry out these mushrooms, they'd hang them on a tree, which is where you get your Christmas tree.
Fair enough.
And the reindeers themselves were actually very common in those areas.
Yeah.
So they were seen as like spirit animals to the shamans themselves.
Fair enough.
And these shamans would actually dress up like as Santa. They would dress in red and white. Well, it was more so like red with white spots to mimic the mushroom.
Okay, getting a little bit unbelievable here, but yeah.
Yeah. And basically, the whole thing about this is that these would actually unlock your 6th chakra. Are you staying with me?
Not really, but keep going.
The 6th chakra is your... Is it pineal or pineal?
Pineal?
Pineal, with the endocrine system. Yeah. It's basically the part of your brain that which will link into fluoride.
Okay.
Fluoride can calcify...
No. You gotta explain what does the pineal gland do.
I'm getting into it.
Okay.
So basically, the pineal gland, it's basically your rational decision-making part of your brain. It's located in, like, your forehead. Okay?
That's wrong, but go on.
No, it's not wrong.
It's
your amygdala.
Your amygdala.
Or
yeah,
amygdala,
that's in the
as
forehead,
you
I
want
think.
to say it. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, the pineal gland is deeper inside the brain, near the stem somewhere, and it doesn't control your rationality at all. But yeah, that might be true for the amygdala.
Yeah, I'm getting confused.
Okay.
The amygdala basically controls it. And the whole theory is that fluoride, well, there's 2 different kinds of fluoride. There's a natural one, which is completely fine, which is found in like underwater reserves and whatnot.
Okay.
And then there's a synthetic one that used to be used in Zyklon B, if you know what that is.
Yeah, it's the gas they used to kill all the Jews and all the others. Yeah.
Fluoride that is put into the water systems of most places, which is even in England now, I think. It used to be in primarily the US, but we have it now as well.
Yeah.
And it's been theorized, and certain experiments have been quite inconclusive, I guess.
Okay.
But it's been pushed towards the idea that it calcifies your amygdala, which then blocks your pineal gland. Yeah.
All right. So
I'm sorry, this sounds like some Carl Pilkington shit.
for some reason, someone is adding fluoride to our water in order to do something to our amygdala to block our pineal gland.
Yes.
Towards what end? And what does this have to do with Santa Claus and the psilocybin mushrooms?
That links in, kind of, because they do not want us to be taking like these recreational drugs such as LSD and whatnot.
Okay.
Because they don't want us to think for ourselves, which is why they are putting fluoride in our systems.
So it's population control.
Essentially, in the sense of not like controlling births.
Yeah, no. Sorry, like
it's controlling the masses, basically keeping us dumb,
yeah.
not questioning anything like tragedies that happen, shootings. It's becoming the social norm for like these mass shootings to happen. In 2 weeks, people forget it.
Okay.
Which is, I theorize that it's because we're being dumbed down by this shit.
All right, that's a very.
And I theorize that you just want to take drugs and feel justified about it.
Well, there have been lots of experiments in these days.
Well, another silence. Oh God, crushing silence.
Well, there have been experiments on these like fucking Buddhists, right? That they study like transcendental meditation, basically shooting their minds off into space.
Yeah.
And reaching these like higher places, accessing their 6th chakra.
Okay.
Or their root chakra, whatever you want to call it. And seeing these other dimensions, which they believe that extraterrestrials are on.
That's called imagination.
If you say so. But they've actually administered copious amounts of LSD to, I think it's a Buddhist or like a Tibetan monk or something like that. And they just kept giving it to him. And he just functioned normally because he's already on that level where he's accessing that part of his consciousness. He was just fine.
All right.
Because you know about DMT and the releasing of chemicals, right?
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
The same chemicals that are released when you die are in DMT, a certain recreational drugs,
Uh-huh.
you're producing the same chemicals that allow you to access this kind of godlike entity. Like, people have similar experiences.
So, okay, yeah.
Which is often conveyed as, like, a true reality, which then links into fluoride calcifying your amygdala, which then stops you from seeing this and keeping you not questioning anything.
All right. I don't buy very much of this at all. The biggest problem is that they is not defined, and like, okay, they did some studies with LSD and stuff. There needs to be like scientific journals or something. But yeah, let's say that I buy all of this. There are places where fluoride isn't added to the water. Are you saying that these people do have access to their pineal glands then, or?
I guess more so, because it's been proven that there are ways to decalcify your pineal gland.
Okay, I don't
Which
Like
think
with vinegar?
Good diet. No.
That's how I decalcify the coffee machine.
I mean,
It's good diet and sunlight.
calcium and fluoride are two different chemicals. How does fluoride calcify something?
Because it does, man.
Shouldn't it fluoridate your pineal gland? I mean, that would be the
I actually
proper
think there might be
adjective.
something here, though, because I do remember something like your intake of fluoride being relevant for the upkeep of your bones, as well being relevant for absorbing calcium.
That's true. No, you're actually.
So there might be.
yeah.
I think there's an interaction.
Fucking hell, Anderson, why are you so smart? Yeah, fluoride is added to water to strengthen your teeth and bones, right?
It
Which
actually-
is made of calcium. So yeah,
It actually damages your teeth.
yeah, sure.
It does. But yeah, it's a whole like thyroid disruption thing. Like the
The
endocrine
thyroid
system.
is in with this now.
You know the endocrine system, right?
I guess.
I've
yeah,
met it. I don't know
hormones
it
and all this.
personally.
Which can lead to not diabetes, obesity.
Uh-huh.
That's basically what happens due to the fluoride, like the sodium fluoride. There's lots of things that are led to it, like
Wait, sodium
Alzheimer's.
fluoride?
So
Yes.
people are fat because the man puts fluoride in our water.
Essentially,
It doesn't have anything
What
to
a
do
wonderful
with...
shift of responsibility. I like it.
It doesn't have anything to do with eating copious amounts of sugar and taking in too many calories.
there are so many tests that have proven like this fluoride has been doing like melatonin disruption, like your immunity system to cancer, where you age.
You know what I think is amazing? I think it's amazing that the very same things we need to take to stop the man from keeping us down is the thing that edgy teens and 20-somethings like to take for shits.
I don't think edgy teens and 20-somethings is a fair
I
description
think
of
most
it.
people
but...
that do shrooms are like in their late 30s and stuff.
But I mean, if there was some reason some group didn't want people to experience psychedelics, they've done a really good job at it. I mean, it's not completely like batshit insane. Like that, there does seem to be that sort of that trend in society that psychedelic drugs are, they're taboo, they're forbidden. So if there was something behind it, I suppose that's a somewhat fair theory. Just on those, like the very bare bones, the surface level of it makes some sense, Anderson.
It's the same with like marijuana. Like the reason why that was like made illegal, because it was encroaching on they were starting producing things with hemp. They realized that they could do many miracle things, like people like couldn't have enough clothes, people couldn't have enough food. Oh wait, hemp can solve both of those problems. And then the clothing industry shut it down because it was competing against linen and whatnot.
Yeah, and also against paper.
Yeah, paper.
Yeah, that's
Like
a real thing, though, what you just said now. It's partially a real thing. It also had to do with anti-immigration. It used to be called cannabis, but then Mexican immigration to the US started becoming a problem for certain political groups, so they rebranded the drug as marijuana, because it sounded more Mexican and scary, and, the whole reefer madness and all this kind of shit.
Yeah,
So,
it's just scaring people. It's just scare tactics, and then placing some bullshit claim on it. Like the whole gateway drug thing is just a completely retarded idea.
Yeah, it really is.
It's just fear mongering so that people don't experience things
I mean,
that might make them like
the
if you
US
seen...
the US drug war is absolutely ridiculous. They've spent so much money, and basically the only thing they've managed to accomplish is to make Mexico run by the cartels.
Like, have you seen the movie Pineapple Express?
No, but I know of it.
in
It's with
the
Seth
introdu-
Rogen, right?
Yeah, in the introduction scene, it's a really good scene that accurately describes the whole marijuana scene. It was in some military base, and they'd just gotten their hands on weed, and they got like one of their privates to smoke it.
Oh yeah.
And they're like monitoring the effects of it, and he's just like compliant, just speaking to them like, "Yes, officer." And he smokes this joint, and then they say, "Do you feel anything?" And he's just like, "Fuck you, fuck the system." And then they just immediately like smack the hammer down. They're just like, "Shut it down, illegal."
Yeah. There was a study made, commissioned by the U.S. government under Reagan, to look into the effects of marijuana, and it basically came back saying that it's not nearly as dangerous as we think. The side effects are minimal. It doesn't have the kind of addiction, etc. And the Reagan administration basically just immediately dumped that in the
the statistics, like, the only problem with it was schizophrenia being developed in the brain, which I think it was like 0.03% of people have that kind of genetic structure, which allows for that weakness.
I mean, it can trigger psychosis in people who are predisposed, just like any psychedelic drugs.
You want to know what my main problem with marijuana is?
Yeah?
Stoner apologists. No, man, weed is good for you, man. I mean, I believe it's not as bad as the scare campaigns tell us it is, but I don't also believe it's this miracle drug.
No, definitely not. I mean, there's this nonsense about treating cancer and stuff, but I mean, if
I don't mind people who smoke weed, but I intensely hate and loathe stoners.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, but you don't hate the drug, you hate the culture that's created by the drug at that point. You have people to blame for that, not the drug.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. But yeah, I mean, it does have certain medicinal applications, especially like reducing nausea and stuff. For
hemp oil is good for rubbing on like cancerous sores and whatnot.
I don't know about that, but like, what is it called? I keep
trails.
Chemtrails. What is the cancer treatment? Chemotherapy. Thank you. Yeah. Like patients in that who smoke marijuana get their appetite back and they don't feel as nauseous and stuff like that, which makes sense.
If I had it, I think I'd go half-half. I wouldn't recommend for anyone to just completely stop chemotherapy. I think I would take my own approach to it, like smoke as much weed as possible, ingest as much hemp oil, and I'd still go through like the chemotherapy as well.
Yeah, I definitely, absolutely, unequivocally must disagree with your statement of going half-half or whatever. You should listen to what doctors say. It's fun discussing conspiracy theories and stuff, but that's kind of where I draw a hard line. I don't think that alternative medicine is medicine at all. I don't think you should try to treat your cancer with crystals and shit. I don't think you should abandon.
I know for sure. As long as you're still doing what the doctor says. As long as you're still doing what the doctor says and then you do your own
Yes, if you're going through the treatment as prescribed by a medical professional, if you also want to do something else because it makes you feel good inside, then sure, go ahead. If you also want to get some needles
depends on what you're going to do.
That's perfectly fine.
Because I want to interject with something like marijuana. Marijuana happens to not be a problem generally. But if you're going to do something where you introduce any kind of chemical or compound into your system, you really should check with that medical professional.
Yeah, like don't start taking ridiculous amounts of colloidal silver or some shit if you have a liver disease, because it's going to make it a lot worse. So yeah, fair point.
I mean, you might have something that you want to take that makes you feel better, that's harmless, but it just so happens it interferes with whatever's in your treatment.
Yeah, I don't think taking things necessarily is that wise, but other kinds of treatments. If you want to go get Reiki healing or acupuncture, or
armpit rake,
buy some healing crystals or like a magnet treatment or whatever the fuck, you go for it. I mean, if it makes you feel better, the placebo effect will actually help your body fight off whatever's wrong with it. So as long as you don't replace traditional treatment with this, I don't have a problem with it. I honestly, it's mostly bunk.
I've heard about studies that actually show that the placebo effect works to a small degree, even in people who know they're getting a placebo.
Yep,
that is amazing.
Of course, because it goes past your like conscious state. Your brain receives certain information and processes it how it thinks it should.
Yeah.
Like, so of course the placebo effect's real.
And the procedure of receiving a treatment has a psychological effect on you. It's like homeopathy trials where basically the people who get the placebo and people who get the homeopathic remedy both have an improvement, but the people who don't get either don't have any improvement. And the hypothesis is that sort of the consultation that you have with a homeopath, where they discuss your problems and quote-unquote tailor a cure to you, that kind of stuff, like the social contact and the idea of talking to a professional is what's actually helping you, rather than the little pill that they give you in the end.
It's all about stimulating your brain and sending those electrolytes on their way to produce certain chemicals.
Electrolyte, yeah.
Electrolytes,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
If the people who are into homeopathy really wanted to help their movement and get word out and strengthen it, they should quit.
Yeah, exactly. No, they should just dilute their message down.
I thought you were going to say get a scientist on it. I was like, why? Why did you do that?
Yeah. There's so many people who believe homeopathy is real, and it's so upsetting because not only is the pill you get, it doesn't contain a single molecule of the active substance, but the active substance is based on this really old fallacy that like treats like. So if you have a skin rash, you should treat it with nettles, like because nettles
like
cause a skin
Honestly,
rash.
what
It's like the whole
so
to
dumb,
me
this
it
thing.
sounds like someone like read the first 3 lines of the Wikipedia page on vaccines and then just made the rest of it up from there.
Pretty much, although homeopathy is much older than vaccines, or at least before.
Oh yeah, I definitely
widespread.
It-
adoption of
it just
vaccines. But
sounds
yeah,
like
I
that.
get it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does make a certain amount of sense, I suppose, because if you introduce a small amount of, or deactivated virus or whatever, then
Antibodies.
Then you produce antibodies, yeah.
then you get autism.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
I mean, it's worked. It's
Yeah,
worked for
yeah.
certain people with poison. There have been people throughout history who have made
Yeah,
themselves
yeah.
immune to poisons. I mean, it's not hard
Yeah.
to see where the logic is coming from, but it's still bad logic.
Yeah,
So what you're
yeah.
saying is that we should inject people with autism with our blood, because we're also autistic.
I got
Yeah.
this from a webcomic, but it's pretty funny. Do we agree that autists tend to gravitate towards science and stuff? At least certain kinds of autists.
Sure.
So that
Some science, some
So
ponies.
that means that there is a disproportionate representation of autists in the in research science. That means autism causes vaccines.
That is true, I guess.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, I mean that's legitimately true that certain fields have a, like, the ones you think of as really nerdy people in them have a overrepresentation of people on the spectrum.
Yeah,
I just can't wait for them to isolate that certain part in autism that makes you excel in a certain area.
Yeah. We
Once
need
they
the
isolate
genius
that, that's gonna be
savant
awesome.
part without all the social awkwardness and stuff.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I wish I was more autistic so I could actually get super into something. Like,
Yeah,
as
I
people,
wish I was
like,
good
get
at
into model
something.
trains or whatever.
I wish I had like one talent. Like no matter how
Yeah.
long I look, I'm just not good at anything. Like I'm average at everything.
there's actually a firm here in Denmark that basically pretty much exclusively, almost exclusively hires autists.
Yeah, we have that here as well.
They can do
Yeah,
that.
and they
Yeah.
basically, I don't remember what it is they do. I think it's programming or something. It's just something incredibly tedious, detail-oriented, repetitive,
Yeah.
and it's just perfect.
Like data input and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. All right. So I suppose for our listeners, well, it's really fun to listen to these kinds of theories. I don't agree with much of what you've said, Sam.
I agree with 100% of the things I've said.
But we can respectfully disagree on it without having to get into accusations or anything, I suppose.
Now, I have the problem of stating things that I don't necessarily believe in,
Mm-hmm.
but my tone, because of how passionate I am about researching these things, it often comes across as that I believe it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, for example, the flat Earth movement at the moment. Like, I've had arguments in other chats about that because
Mm-hmm.
I won't say that it isn't true because I've acknowledged the fact that I'm not intelligent enough to go into the mathematics and physics of it to know for myself or to even begin to understand it. So I'm basically at the point where if I can't understand something and I haven't looked into it as much as I could, then I'm not going to say that it isn't true.
You're
Then
agnostic on
you
the
need to
topic
trust
of
the
flat Earth.
experts.
I don't need to trust the experts.
Yes, you do.
No,
'cause
Dope,
they know what the
that's
fuck they're
the
talking
man.
about.
They want to calcify our
I mean-
brains.
The SPICs are NASA, who have been proven to lie about the only pictures that they've taken of Earth that have been digitally manipulated. Why would I trust them? Why would I trust them?
What? But you're now trusting the experts on the other side.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I guess I am.
Who's telling you that NASA has done this? Those would be the experts on the flat Earth side, I suppose.
So
wouldn't
who
they?
do you believe?
Yeah,
You can't trust any
You have
expert.
to research and make up your own mind, I suppose.
Well, you don't.
But
you just
but
realize
you
that it doesn't
clearly
affect you.
you clearly put more weight in the people opposed to NASA as the authority. So I guess that's what you would believe then. Like,
I guess I don't believe it. I think I want to believe it. It's more like a fantasy thing. It's better than the current boring, shitty reality that we live in now.
That's how I feel about 9/11.
Yeah, that's like I want to believe in the ice wall on the end of the flat plane, like, and there's something better out there. But like, I'm not going to research it because I don't really care.
I don't believe 9/11
But
was an
then you-
inside
you-
job. I don't really particularly care, but I just, wouldn't it be cooler? Wouldn't it be a cooler world if 9/11 was an inside job done to shore up a failing presidency, rather than
Yeah.
some
Guess what?
random angry Muslims?
definitely.
Yeah, guess what? You live in it.
Yeah, I'm not convinced one way or another about 9/11. I mean, I'm convinced there was no energy weapon or nanothermite or anything like that. But if the hijackers were allowed to do it, if the Air Force was told to stand down, etc., that could be perfectly possible. Especially since Bush had gotten sort of the memos of like Saddam is going to strike within the US, etc.
There's so much bullshit surrounding it, like like a terrorist passport landing at the foot of a police officer. Like, fuck off.
Fucking bomb-proof passports.
Yeah,
man.
and it happened in France as well. The
yeah.
exact same thing. The guy who actually like blew himself up, his passport was left on the floor. Like, fuck right off.
Yeah. It's you can. There's a lot of details to be incredulous about. But that doesn't mean I think there were explosives in the World Trade Center.
You can argue the point though, like the meme, like jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams. Like you've got professionals that are saying this, like over 100,000 engineers and architectural.
Nah, that's bollocks.
Like, experts.
No. That fucking list is bollocks. A lot of those people are not architects or engineers.
But some
I
of
don't-
them
And
are.
even if they are, they
I
don't
don't get it.
necessarily have the expertise they're talking about. It's like saying that evolution isn't real because there's some list with 1,000 like astrophysicists and shit that don't believe in evolution.
I don't get it. Does jet fuel need to melt steel beams, or
No,
does it just
and
need to
that's
that's
or
kind
does
of
it just
problem.
need to soften them enough?
It needs to weaken
Yeah.
it, yeah.
But that is what is in the actual official report. The same as George Bush saying that he saw the first plane on TV hit the tower when that was not on TV.
Yeah, that's an interesting
But
thing.
that's
though.
George
a lot
Bush.
of people
He's-
think
he was an idiot.
A lot of people think they did. Like, our mind has back constructed that we saw the first tower hit on live television. Because we've seen the footage of it so many times now that for some reason we just construct a false memory of how we saw it live.
And when the BBC aired the footage of the Twin Towers being hit before it actually happened.
The falling, right? Before
Yeah,
it
the
happened.
falling, sorry.
Yeah,
the falling.
yeah.
I was literally asleep when the first hit.
Don't be so sure about that. You might think you were, but I actually read this really, really interesting article that talked about a study where they had interviewed like 100 people or something like that. I believe college kids, like 2 days or something after 9/11, asking them where they were, what they were doing at the time when they heard, how they felt, and so forth. And then, like 2 years later, they went back and asked these same people the same things. And then they asked them, like, how sure are you that you still remember it exactly how it happened? And the people who were more sure that they told the same story as 2 years ago were more likely to be wrong. Like,
And I bet the first one was that they didn't see it happen, and then the second time they did see it happen, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean, it's like when they heard the news, like what happened. So they would have told a story like, I don't know, I was in my room playing Xbox, and then suddenly my mom opened the door. Come, Johnny, you gotta see this. And then we went to sit in front of the TV. And then the next time they tell it, it's like, I was sitting in front of the TV watching a news report when suddenly a breaking news happened, and I saw the plane hit the World Trade Center, and I went to get my mom. Like, so their story had changed, even though some of the details were similar. But the more confident they were that they had the same memory, the more likely they were to be wrong.
I guess I'm wrong then, because I am absolutely 100% confident.
Well, it obviously isn't true for all memories, but it is an interesting phenomenon.
I think that's more likely to happen the more traumatic it is.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And I was kind of bewildered and confused as to why I was supposed to give a shit when it happened.
Really?
I remember feeling the same.
Kind of callous.
No, I was the same.
I am kind of callous. Sorry, mate.
I remember I was just standing in my living room watching it on TV. Like, my mum was crying, and I was just like, okay, this is happening.
I was asleep, and I don't remember if it was my mother or father, but one of them came and woke me up and was like, "You have to see this. This is something important." And that was after the first hit came on the news. And while we were watching that, the second hit happened.
I can totally understand why some people felt like it was important, especially the older generation. Like why your mom cried, because she had lived through the fucking Cold War and shit, and then suddenly now it had come real to some extent. Like there had been an attack, and the illusion of peace that ever since the Berlin Wall fell, there had been this sort of illusion of calm, and then suddenly there's a massive terrorist attack inside one of the Western countries. Like the sense of security was just shattered.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's different for especially me and Sam, who didn't grow up in the fucking 80s. We never really experienced that threat. I guess, Anderson, you didn't either to that big of an extent, because I guess you were rather young. But I honestly think that there was this era of calm and peace between the fall of the Berlin Wall and 9/11.
The only threat I grew up was with the fucking Wu-Tang Clan. That's all it was. They're the scariest motherfuckers on the face of the earth.
If you don't behave, X gonna give it to you.
It's very true.
Man, I never got into the Wu-Tang Clan as a kid, but I listened to it like starting a few years ago, and
the only thing I ever knew about Wu-Tang Clan is that, what was it? Was it on the PlayStation? A Wu-Tang Clan wrestling game came out.
Wrestling? It wasn't wrestling. It was like a street fighting game. I remember it. I think Dope played it because I requested it.
No, it wasn't me. Somebody streamed it though, but it might also have been a wrestling game. I don't know. I remember there was a controller for the PlayStation 1 or maybe Nintendo 64, whatever, that was like in their logo, like the.
I mean, it would be pretty obvious for an Xbox or a PlayStation. They're kind of that shape almost already.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It wasn't Nintendo 64 because that wouldn't make any sense. Actually.
Also, please tell me that at least one of the Batman Arkham games came out with a bat-shaped controller as well. Because otherwise, marketing as a whole for the entirety of the human race has failed to function.
I mean, it's got pretty pointy edges, though. I can't see that being comfortable.
No, it was.
It's not about being comfortable. They released a chainsaw controller for Resident Evil.
Oh man, yeah. Green used that to stream.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was pretty fucking cool. Yeah. Whenever you press the start button, like.
I kind of wish I had like the money and was perhaps a slightly bigger nerd in that degree, because I'd kind of love to have all kinds of gimmick controllers.
Yeah. They make really good collectibles.
There was a Batman one. Jinx made it, but it wasn't like in the shape. It just had like the Batman logo on it.
Boo.
But it's again, the controller is almost the shape of a Batarang already. How could you fail? I'm disappointed.
Are there even third-party PlayStation 4 controllers? Because they have this touch.
I know there are third-party sticks.
Controlees and stuff.
I know
there's PS3.
I know there are third-party arcade sticks. Definitely.
Yeah, but those are just USB. Yeah. I don't know though, because their technology is getting a bit complicated now to just copy. I don't know.
World Trade Center.
Yeah, World Trade Center.
Yeah, going back to that though.
Okay.
Explain Building 7 for me.
Debris
Yes,
from
please
the
explain
towers.
Building 7 for me. What is Building 7?
Okay, so their World Trade Center was these two towers,
Yeah.
right? The Twin Towers. And they were both hit by planes and eventually fell due to fires in them, supposedly. And then there was also World Trade Center Building 7. There were more buildings, but that's the famous one, which also collapsed. It was not hit by a plane.
Keep in mind, Building 7 was a block away. Okay? North. One entire block away.
Yeah?
And it was completely destroyed, burnt out from the inside. Like, conspiracy theories find it really easy to pick this apart because it does look like an energy weapon has hit it right down the middle, if you can imagine that.
A band of retired thieves, led by George Clooney, learned of the terrorist attack and decided to come back into action, and they knew that something incredibly valuable was in Building 7, so during the attacks, they hit Building 7 with a heist and then burned it out to cover their tracks.
Was that a mix between Ocean's 11 and National Treasure?
Yeah, something like
and
that.
The Expendables?
Yeah.
Hey, it would make sense why there were unmarked vans outside of the World Trade
Fucking
Center.
unmarked van. Come on.
There were unmarked
Yeah,
vans
but
outside
unmarked
the World
vans
Trade
are not
Center.
suspicious.
I can go downtown and
That's
see
the
3
trope.
unmarked vans. Come on.
No.
Exactly.
Most vans,
the
I don't
thing
know how it
is-
is in America, but here, most vans are unmarked.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they were performing maintenance and repairing the elevator shaft for the longest amount of time that's ever been recorded for someone to fix an elevator.
Who records the
planting-
time it takes to fix an elevator?
Because they're gonna clock them in when you can't just walk into a building and start working into it, so they know how many days they've been there.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of circumstantial evidence that makes the Building 7 collapse more appealing. I actually was really into 9/11 conspiracies for a long time, spurred on by Building 7. Basically, it was unexplainable. There was no satisfactory explanation for it, and there's also a lot of, as I said, circumstantial stuff. Like there's the mayor, I think, on TV can be heard saying "pull it," something like that, right before it explodes, explodes, collapses. And it really does look like it's basically a controlled demolition. And then there's the fact that a lot of Pentagon like archives were held in that building, and various other like governmental stuff, like basically really important paperwork. So they would have a motivation to destroy it, I suppose. But the biggest counterpoint, which I never actually thought about back then, is if there was a conspiracy to do this, why would they make it so non-obvious? Like, why would they make it so... Because it's really weird that Building 7 collapses. It was hit by debris from the collapsing towers, according to the official story, which I basically believe at this point, but... Hi guys, Future Dope here with some editing. It seems like Kriya's microphone cut out for a minute here, but he was basically asking why Building 7 collapsed and how came it started burning. It was fucking burning! What? Because of office fires. The World Trade Center collapsing.
The embers don't brush across the window.
No, not the fucking embers. There were huge chunks of concrete and steel that crashed into it, and then...
Concrete and steel don't cause fires.
Sure they do.
If they're warm enough, they do.
They were basically explode. I don't know, but yeah, whatever. As I said, if it is a conspiracy, though, they made it incredibly weird. Because it's so obvious to pick out, like, okay, why did this building that's so far away also collapse? That doesn't make any sense. If I was planning a conspiracy to fly planes into buildings and then also collapse another building, I don't know. Would I not have made it, I mean, more obvious to the masses that it was also part of the plan somehow?
I only have one answer for you, and you're not going to like it.
Okay.
In the conspiracy world, there's a whole theory that...
If you say fucking energy weapons or something.
No.
Or holograms.
That the Illuminati apparently have to make these things obvious.
Oh, I love that theory so much. They have
say
to
that
show...
They
Yeah.
have to shove it in our faces and make it so obvious because they gain like dark energy from doing it to perform their satanic rituals and whatnot.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that theory. I mean, it doesn't need to be dark energy or whatever, but they just enjoy toying with the masses in this way.
Yeah, because
that's why you have so many pictures of like presidents doing like the Satan horns and stuff like that, because they really enjoy. They like laugh behind our back, even though they're publicly showing these things.
Because what else do they have to enjoy? They own everything.
You know what for me is the strongest argument
multi-compassing
against 9/11 and a lot of other conspiracies?
Uh-huh.
If you look at the manpower and the resources it would take to set up and pull off 9/11 as a conspiracy,
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that you can do that without it leaking. I don't believe that humans are that dependable, that trustworthy, unless the Illuminati have actual mind control devices to control the people involved in their schemes.
That's called MK Ultra.
No, that's called television. That's called CNN.
There is an actual CIA program called MK
Yeah,
Ultra,
I know
which is
about
mind
MK
control.
Ultra. It was about administering LSD to some...
Basically, access some
I
part
saw the
of your
movie
brain.
about that.
You can mind control people. There's even a case of where there was a file in a cabinet in Russia, and basically someone in America in the CIA was treated with LSD, and they sent their consciousness
that's bollocks.
into
Astral
a file
projection
cabinet
doesn't
in
work.
Russia.
Don't give me any of that shit.
They took the information from it and then brought it back.
It's not real. If astral projection was real, we'd fucking use it all the time.
Honestly, if MK Ultra was real...
It was.
Yeah, but real as in properly worked.
Okay, yeah.
Honestly, then we wouldn't have heard of it.
Yeah, that's a fair argument, I think. Like, why would they have unclassified the whole project?
Because then there's another, argument to it. Because if they put it out there in the open, people are going to think it's bullshit and ignore it.
Yeah, the giggle factor.
Yeah, exactly. It's a real thing.
Yeah. It's like if you make a movie about it, a Hollywood movie, about some conspiracy you're doing, then people will just assume that you're just being influenced by that movie if you ever talk about it, even if it happens in real life.
It's conditioning.
Yeah.
The same with the Back to the Future movies.
Uh-huh.
With the references to 9/11 with the Twin Towers, Twin Pines
for
Mall.
fuck's sake. Yeah, and then they're standing outside the Illuminati shop and stuff.
And the clock says 9/11 on it.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of really interesting things like that, but you can also pull out 100 other coincidences out of any movie, really, if you analyze it
the
deep
Call
enough.
of Duty map. No, it was Battlefield map that was taking place in the same place as the Paris shooting on the exact same day.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, but another counterexample is the Worgen in World of Warcraft.
Yep.
If you reverse their name, it says
Negro.
Negro, and all the Worgen enemies, before, in vanilla World of Warcraft, always dropped watermelons.
That's fucking great.
Here's an old conspiracy along those lines. The pyramids and blah 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 built by alien space masters. Because you can find all kinds of mathematics and geometry. Like if you take from a corner to the tip and multiply it by the square root of the circumference of the pharaoh's dick,
if
you get the distance to Andromeda.
A thick layer of numerology to it, you can pull out any fucking math you want.
Yeah, that's basically what several mathematicians have said. Yeah, but there are so many factors in the pyramid, so many angles, so many distances, that you can pull any math you want out of the pyramids.
Yeah. It reminds me of this. Sorry, go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, just something additional to that. There is something actually interesting. It's just going back
as
into
opposed
the
to what I
chakras.
just said. Fuck you.
Additional. Where the new pyramids are being discovered and whatever, and all these huge sites where they actually align matches up with the chakras, which is kind of interesting.
Which is not a real thing.
It is, man.
But yeah, I know about the holy sites.
Chakra.
And,
that's that energy they use in Naruto to make fire, right?
Chakra is an Eastern mysticism concept that basically New Age has hijacked and confused the fuck out of.
Yeah, it's also what they for some reason call ki in Naruto, which was the joke.
Oh. Ki is the energy that goes through your chakras.
Yeah, their internal energy. For some reason, the guy who wrote Naruto decided that energy was called chakra.
Motherfucking Shintos.
Yeah,
culturally appropriating the I don't even know what is it? Hinduism? What are chakras from? Buddhism?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Some kind of ism.
Yeah, maybe it's Taoism or something like that. Who the fuck knows? Anyway, have you guys seen the film The Number 23?
Is that the one with Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Yeah, I
think it's about a guy who's obsessed with the number 23, basically.
Yeah, and if it's the one I think it is, it's that guy is played by Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah, it could be. I don't know. I thought it was Ashton Kutcher for some reason, but now that when you said Jim Carrey, it kind of rang a bell. Anyway, basically he finds the number. He finds the number 23 everywhere, and it's basically not a great film, I suppose, but it's kind of interesting to see how numerology can play with you.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Not amazing from a film perspective. I want to rewatch it now though. But yeah, if he sees the number 5, 5 is 2 plus 3, so 5 is 23. Like that kind of logic makes, and at the same, like if something equals up to 6, that's clearly 2 times 3, so that's also 23.
It's the same shit like following the family trees and relating Prince Charles to Obama, then to fucking Hitler, or whatever.
I mean, if we go back far enough, we're all related to Genghis Khan anyway.
They actually did that in, I don't remember if it actually comes out in the movie, but the movie 1408, you've probably seen it, Haunted Hotel Room.
Yeah.
Yeah, the number of the room, 1408, that adds up to 13.
Yeah, that's kind of cute. Man, that 1408 had 2 different endings, and one of them is as bad, and one of them is really good. Just if you have watched that film and didn't like the ending, I would recommend you look up the other one.
I haven't seen it.
I liked the ending I saw, so...
Was it ending in a car?
I do not remember.
Okay.
I remember that the key point of the ending is the tape recorder. And I think that's as much as I can say without spoiling.
Yeah. And then he adjusts the mirror in the car. Maybe? No?
Doesn't ring a bell?
Okay, it ends in a jump scare in one of the endings, basically.
I think I saw the non-jump scare one.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that film is pretty good. It's kind of psychedelic horror. It's basically about a man trapped in a room. He goes to investigate a haunted room, and then suddenly he becomes trapped in it, and things happen. It's kind of subtle. If you like sort of psychedelic films where you
it doesn't stay subtle, but it takes its time building it up.
Yeah, I mean, it still kind of does. Like when he... Oh, I don't want to spoil it, actually, but there are certain parts, certain twists that happen where you're not entirely sure, like, which reality we're in, if that makes any sense.
I will say this, the movie didn't have a lot of really bizarre, gory shit.
Yeah.
But even so, I will say it's probably the best Silent Hill movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's kind of that Silent Hill-y kind of thing, where you're not sure if you're in the dream world or not. Is this happening for real, or is it in his head? Like, is he imagining these things?
Subtle, creepy, lonely madness encroaching on you.
Yeah. I definitely recommend it.
That's my recommendation of the week.
Yeah, we're bringing back that segment, are we?
For now?
Yeah.
I guess.
Sam, what's your favorite film?
My favorite film is American Psycho.
Yeah, that's a great one. I think we've recommended it in the past, but it is worth repeating. It is very, very good.
Can I just be a complete Philistine?
Uh-huh.
I think the movie is quite a bit better than the book.
I guess Christian Bale's a genius the way he portrays it.
Yeah.
But the book has so many more different elements that add a lot more to the psychotic and just pure insane nature of the character. Like going up to a homeless man, stabbing him in the eye and stamping on his dog's legs. And they completely, in the movie, they leave out like the fact that he does steroids. Yeah. Which is like a big part in like deciphering the way his brain works.
I think a lot of the difference between the book and the film, I haven't actually read the book yet, unfortunately. I have it as audiobook downloaded, but I've been a lazy motherfucker. It's like that you can't see his thought processes in the same way, even though the film has like the internal monologue that you hear, like I can't believe he has a better card than I do. That kind of stuff is a lot more expanded in the book, and from what I hear, like the whole obsession with fashion and like regurgitating like these music reviews and stuff like that verbatim is far more expanded in the book.
This is my life.
You know what I really don't like about the book, and it's probably why I think the film is better. Mm-hmm. Those movie review rants that he does, they're in the book as well, but they're not actually a part of the plot.
Oh.
Like in the movie, it's a scene. He's with someone, and then he'll just start rambling this out.
Yeah.
But in the book, it's not in a scene. Nothing's happening. There will just be a chapter by itself. That's this music review rant with no context.
I think that's what they intended for, though. I think that was the whole thing. Like that, in itself, by not explaining the processes, it explains his processes.
Yeah.
Because there are none. He's animalistic. He acts on urges. Whatever's the most important at the time
Yeah.
plays on his mind, and he obsesses about it.
Yeah, but I think that works so much better when he just starts blurting it out at people who are obviously not interested in this tirade, rather than when it's almost like you just took something unrelated to the book and put it in.
Yeah.
The problem I have with the movie was differentiating the monologue in between things that he says out loud sometimes. Like, for example, the scene in the bar where he says to the bar when she's just like, I want to fucking murder you and play around in your blood.
Yeah.
And
I
like,
think that was very deliberate, though.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
It's like, did she not hear him? Did he actually say
Yeah,
it?
that's
That's
one of the things
the
I
movie
really like
deliberately
about the
fucking
film.
with you, though.
That's one of the things I really like about the film. That if you don't know about the book, if you haven't read the book, you're not sure exactly what happened in the story. Like,
I've read the book and I still don't understand that. Like what he actually
yeah,
said.
yeah. But then, like, how
Yeah,
did he murder all these people? What happened? Like, was it all his fantasy or?
That's because the book,
That aspect of it is really interesting.
the
to me.
movie, even though we're a third-party observer, we are through the camera angle.
Yeah.
But the movie is still told more than I think any other movie I've seen. Well, with maybe one exception, it is told through the main protagonist.
Yeah,
we
and
are
he's
seeing
an
it.
unreliable narrator.
We are seeing it from his perspective, and his perspective means that sometimes we don't actually know if someone just ignored
Yeah.
him or he just imagined doing something.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that film.
It really is a masterpiece, and I
Yeah.
hate using that word. But
I mean,
it really is.
American Psycho, the movie,
Have
is
you-
a definite 10 out of 10 for me.
What about the sequel? Is that any good? I haven't seen it.
There is no sequel.
American Psycho 2, American Sweetheart.
No,
It's not
Nope.
a sequel. It's a completely different film. They took that name and added to it.
Is it any good?
I've not seen it. I don't
it's the
think
same
so.
as it's the same as Mulan 2. It doesn't exist.
There's a
Just forget
Mulan
it.
too?
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't. You just said there was.
Yeah, but certain things. Just
So speaking of obsession with dressing well, let's talk about fashion, Sam.
this is more so my personality, I think.
Okay.
And its major flaw. I'm really compulsive, and I have
Yeah.
a really addictive personality. If I go into something, I go like full on.
Mm-hmm.
Same with gym, fucking my heart up. Same with other things I'm not going to mention, as I decided to delete that from the Google Doc.
That's fair enough.
We won't talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my latest endeavour is fashion, having spent like £1,200 in 2 weeks.
On
Well, 12 days
clothes?
on clothes, yes.
That's a lot of money.
It
That
is.
could buy you a good computer.
Yeah, but,
What?
you know, you can't wear your computer.
Well,
That sounds
no,
like a
but
challenge.
You can't play your clothes.
Of course you can. They make nice ropes for skipping with. But,
I
yeah.
can't even imagine spending that amount of money on clothing.
I can. If I had the money, I would happily spend
Yeah,
that.
but if you had the money, then you have the money. Obviously, I can spend that if I have it.
Well,
to fucking
Sam
spend,
obviously has the money.
But no,
My
he
s-
doesn't.
my-
He works at a fucking bomb plant in southern Syria or some shit. Like, come on.
my circumstances at the moment allow for me to indulge on recreational things, I guess. Things that don't actually matter.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I spent a lot of money on stuff, but I don't know. Buying clothing is not fun. Wearing clothing is not fun. Clothing sucks.
It's like playing dress up games. Like I even played them as a fucking kid because I'm a fucking faggot, but whatever. And,
Did you ever, but like with a?
not with like dolls, like online ones and stuff.
Oh, I thought you meant like you wore your mommy's clothes and stuff.
No, I never did that.
Oh, what a sad existence.
Can I?
Me neither.
Can I just shout your own thing back at you, Dope?
Huh?
Buying clothes is not fun. Wearing clothes is not fun. Clothes suck. Unless it's really nice clothes.
Then they're so expensive.
There's
Yeah,
just some-
agreed.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be like the latest fashion.
Yeah, it
trend
doesn't
is-
have to be. I just spent £1,200.
That's because I bought a lot of things, not necessarily expensive things.
I would spend
it's-
I would happily spend that amount on one single suit.
Yeah, there's a jacket.
Yeah,
I saw
then
that
why
Kanye
don't
West
you,
was wearing.
Anderson?
Because I can't afford it. When I'm
Yeah,
able to
but-
afford it, I will get a tailored suit, and it'll probably cost in that area.
Kanye West was pictured wearing this raccoon fur jacket. The retail price was 16 grand.
Yeah, but 16 grand for Kanye West is nothing. He wipes his ass with 16 grand.
Which he probably shouldn't, because supposedly he has $53 million worth of debt.
No, isn't that
That's
50
not-
Cent?
No, it is Kanye.
Oh, really? I thought 50 Cent was the guy in
No,
a lot of finance.
It's
Kanye
not-
was the
it's
guy
not
on
personal
Twitter
about that.
begging Mark Zuckerberg for
Oh,
money.
yeah, you're right.
It's not personal
Reparations,
debt, though.
please, massa.
He's still fine. It's not personal debt. This is like his business endeavors and whatnot.
Kanye West is a fucking retard. I love him.
No, I think he's great. It's the same reason I like Phil Anselmo from Pantera. I just think anyone who's so outspoken goes towards their own goal. Says
Kanye West
anything.
is like Donald Trump, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
they don't give a
their
fuck. They
personalities
just
are
cunts.
so similar. There's no filter in their mind.
And if Donald
It's
Trump
great.
wins this year, then Kanye West in 4 years.
I mean, that was a joke in some film, I think. Like a reality star would win the presidency and he would have
It was-
Kanye West
it was
as
The
his vice
Simpsons.
president or some
Oh.
shit like that, and it's almost happening.
In The Simpsons, they actually had Trump as president,
yeah.
which is great.
Trump was never like a big celebrity here. I never really knew who he was before this presidential race. I mean, I've heard his name a few times. I know about like the Trump hotels, and
I literally
know
knew
about
that he
him
was
from
some
The
rich guy.
Apprentice.
For
But
someone who grew up knowing exactly who he was, his presidential endeavors are quite strange.
yeah,
It's really odd. It is literally just as weird as Kanye West suddenly becoming president.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so strange. Like, it makes you question what kind of qualifications you have to have for this. It's money.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he's self-funding is super important.
I mean,
Since
wasn't
we're talking about fashion and we got back onto Trump, if you are worth like $50 million or whatever, then yeah, he's probably worth a lot more than that. Whatever, 100 billion, whatever the fuck he's worth. Why don't you have a personal stylist? Why do you look like that?
He does have a personal stylist, huh?
No, that's impossible. Who would style a person like that?
Dude.
Have you seen how he dresses? Have you seen his hair?
his hair?
Have you seen how the man looks?
I have heard from the horse's own lips the story of why Donald has that hair.
It's iconic, man.
Yeah.
Found it on the side of the road.
No, basically a hairdresser fucked it up. And then he decided...
Just kept it.
And then he kept it for a while, for whatever reason, I don't even think he knows. And it just became synonymous with him. It became the Trump hairstyle.
Yeah, it's like Bob Ross with the afro. He actually didn't like the afro, but he always kept it just because of marketing reasons, basically.
Yeah, and that's basically why Trump has the Trump hair. Why he dresses so badly, I wouldn't be able to say.
God, his entire like posture and his mannerisms, he's so disgusting.
There's certain people.
Trump is
nothing's
such an
gonna work for.
unattractive person, man.
There's just some people that nothing's gonna work. Like Stephen Hawking has a fucking stylist.
Yeah,
He has a very expensive stylist.
Stephen Hawking looks better than Trump, though.
Yeah.
Like, all things considered, I'd rather like kiss him on the mouth than kissing Trump on the mouth.
You mean Trump's eyes?
What?
Have you not seen that picture going around recently where they've replaced Trump's lips onto his eyes and it looks the exact same? Because he's always squinting.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. I mean,
The best Trump-related thing I've ever seen. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's him running down to the ring and clotheslining Vince McMahon during a wrestling match.
yeah, that's fucking
But
great.
if it's not that, it has to be that thing you cued the other day, Dope.
Which one?
Where they take Trump and they insert him into a Game of Thrones trailer.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. We have to build a wall. And then they show like the wildlings up on the north. It's so fucking well made as well.
Did you just refuse an order, my lord? Yeah, I mean, you could say, yeah, you could say that.
I hope he wins so bad.
We don't make deals. We never make deals. And then in the next scene, we have to make a deal. Oh man, I love Trump. I hope he wins the Republican nomination, and I hope Sanders wins the Democratic one, because Sanders is gonna beat his ass. I really hope Hillary doesn't win the Democratic one, because then I'm afraid no matter what happens, there's going to be a really horrible president.
Yeah. Actually, I think if Bernie wins the Democratic nomination, I think Trump winning the Republican nomination is the best thing that could happen for Bernie.
Absolutely.
Because I think Bernie would lose to a quote-unquote real Republican, but I think Trump scares the shit out of so many Republican voters that Bernie would win on Trump alienating what's supposed to be his own side.
More importantly, Trump scares the shit out of so many Democratic voters that voter turnout would increase.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
good point.
the biggest fucking issue in US politics is not convincing the people to vote for you, because it's so split up. Like, Democrats almost never vote
always
for Republicans.
voted Republican, so I'm
Exactly.
a vote Republican.
There's a few people who are independent, but yeah, the thing you need to do is actually drive people to come out to vote. That's why Obama managed to squeak out his victory, even though he didn't have like massive popular support, just because his message of like, hope, we can do it, we can change things, and also like, I'm the first black president thing made many young voters come out and vote for the first time. Whereas obviously Romney was just another,
I think a big issue at the moment as well with the voting system is that people are influenced too much by media, as in Twitter. Like, people are very, very like open about who they vote for nowadays.
I think that's good.
You think?
Yeah.
I think it puts a lot more like pressure on people to vote for certain people in certain areas where
That's true. There's this sort of social pressure thing going on. I mean, if you have a neighborhood where every single lawn has a Trump sign, it's going to be really difficult to put up the Bernie sign, because you're not going to get invited to the barbecue later on,
But
Like,
honestly, these are people who
here.
vote for Trump. Do you want to go to their barbecues?
I don't know. I mean,
I
Hicks are
reckon they
pretty
throw
good
down
at
a good
barbecue,
one.
generally.
Yeah.
I-
There used to be a thing over here where if you vote for the BNP, you couldn't work for like the police or the council
What?
or anything like that, the military.
What is it? Is that British National Party?
British National Party, yeah.
Right. Is that
They were racist.
Did they
were
turn
like
into
a-
UKIP, or is UKIP completely different?
A few people went over from BNP to UKIP, and I think a lot of them got like ejected for being racist.
Right. Fair enough.
But yeah, UKIP aren't racist. BNP are. Like, there's no question about BNP's racism.
That's fair enough. One thing I wanted to say earlier when we were discussing immigration, which I find to be kind of interesting, is that Britain is so like, immigration has affected it so much. Like, you could almost say that your national dish is like the curry.
Yeah, which is not ours.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it kind of is.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is now. It kind
As
of
in
became it
we-
when you went and created the Raj and all this, but
We bastardized it. Like,
Yeah.
Our curry is not their curry now.
yeah, but I mean, that's cultural appropriation done right. Food
Yeah,
and
for sure.
clothing and music and all this kind of stuff. The fact that cultural appropriation is such a bad word these days, I don't get it. Culturally appropriating stuff is awesome. Italians, they didn't add cheese to their pizzas before the Americans started doing it. Come on.
Yeah,
Come
taking the best-
on. Did it really take
It's-
America to fucking come up with the idea to add cheese to your pizzas?
Honestly,
you fucking Italians?
honestly,
They
it
put fluoride
took
in it.
America to come up with the idea of adding cheese to everything.
That's true.
Also, I'm pretty sure that a lot of the cheese they use in America, an Italian would refuse to acknowledge as cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the cows are drinking fluoride water.
No, they're being fed GMO corn. I think that's a bigger problem.
And that's the problem, because we need cows that will make decisions
we
for
need cows to
themselves.
make America great again.
We need cows on shrooms. That's what we need.
Yeah,
Vote Trump.
vote Trump. I think that about wraps it up then, guys.
Yes, it does. I think we've
I almost want to
exhausted
cut it
everything
right
in the
here.
rumble.
Just cut it off. But we need to pimp ourselves out first. So, as usual, if you have any feedback for us, you can reach me and Anderson at dopelives@gmail.com for any hate mail or love letters that you have. Of course, I'll pass it on to Anderson. Anything you have to say to us. I have a Twitter you can follow at dopefish_lives.
My Twitter is at SirAnderson1.
If you find me, good job.
Do you want me to put you in the show notes, Kriya, or no?
No, if they find it, I'll give you a smiley face.
Okay. The final thing I have to say is that your Skype avatar looks exactly like it says Sam Paleo.
Coincidence? I think not.
I think not.
I think it's just the aesthetics as a lifestyle, I guess.